last thing he heard. After that, it was shots. They say the police listening, we can't speak on the ops. I got a Glock for them boys on my seat at the top. Line it up, what's the play? We say get him, he got street sweepers out, but we coming to tear up the block. Do you really got your chop? You say that a lot. What we on, I got the drop, is you riding or not? It's an awful lot of side talking going on. Say the wrong thing, you get introduced to Pippi Long. 30 shots in his back, that is not be long. I'm in traffic with the Glocky, I'm not on my phone. You ain't get it off the muscle, then don't say shit. It's always guns around me, I don't be taking no flicks. I ain't fucking with nobody, bro, we done with that. Thought he was a factor, heard his tape around his cul-de-sac. Once that poking out your pocket, just another stack. Leaving with my strap and I'm ass like I'll be right back. Play ball, we on this cap, I ain't bring no bat. 12 get up on me, do the dash till my tires flat. Pay the stink team in full, we ain't taking no less. Ain't no settling for shit, got my game from the best. Nigga talking disrespect, get shots in his chest. Walking out with the hundreds, I'm leaving the rest.
Mom sticks on the floor, but we making a mess. We start tearing up shit for them blasphemy threats. El Chapo just chipped Johnny Bravo. Ain't no peace treat, nothing, bro. I thought that you was macho. I get my plug from the Mexicans, the narcos. Mask off, let the case spark, beat the brakes off. I ain't seen nothing, I don't know, I think I'm Ray Charles. Left his white tee red with his Crayola. Bullets flying everywhere, nigga, this is not normal. We know the truth, all you niggas need to pay homage. All that weird fake shit, keep it far from us. Too greedy all-nighter, bitch, I'm nocturnal. We bought a play for him, nigga, throw some beef on it. Niggas know what's going on, we ain't gotta speak on it. A pump faker with that strap, he got a whack jumper. Two thumpers, come and do something, bet he lose something.
It's an awful lot of side talking going on. Say the wrong thing, you get introduced to Pippi Long. 30 shots in his back, that is not be long. I'm in traffic with the Glocky, I'm not on my phone. You ain't get it off the muscle, then don't say shit. It's always guns around me, I don't be taking no flicks. I ain't fucking with nobody, bro, we done with that. Thought he was a factor, heard his tape around his cul-de-sac. Side talking going on. Say the wrong thing, you get it. Pippi Long stockings and all that. They got their names and all type of shit, bitch. But y'all thought the stick team was gonna slow down, nigga? Y'all thought it was over with, huh?
Foragers, fuck it up.
Be realistic, I don't really see no competition. Who she thinks she talking to? Like, obviously, I'm a nigga. Close that door, niggas snakes, I ain't going for it. Move right, outsmart them, stink team, most wanted. Be realistic, niggas bums, they ain't trying to ball. Ran it back and won, nigga, anytime we took a loss. Rock hard in my double cup, I keep spilling sauce. I don't know nothing, bodies dropped, he was not involved. Versatile, I could be a model or chalk the block. Or pop a lock with a dough, X marks the spot. Cut it out, if she ain't beneficial, I'ma cut her off. Bitch, give up, drop right now, made her cough it up. Cold demons, everywhere I go, we dropping icicles. Is we kidding? Broke niggas rapping science fiction. Every day a movie, it ain't hard to be the most consistent. A flu flammer, I be in and out with orange chicken. You know who really for the win, be realistic. He just wanna be my friend, be realistic. They don't really get no Uchis, be realistic. They can't do it how we do it, be realistic, man. Shit, bitch. You know who really for the win, be realistic. Shit. Yeah. They can't do it how we do it, be realistic.
You know who run the city, let's be realistic. Where the wonton soup, I'm finna tear up the kitchen. Cause you the feds or the cops, mind your business. Draco was the dime, bitch, tell all your children. Walk back and stupid, I might men in black his memories. Tear it off quick, bitch, now, literally. If not, you gotta go to sad facts, you can't sit with me. I know I got this big Buddha piece, I need 10 of these. Things got the sauce, ingredients, and the recipe. I never stop rapping till my neck look like Mr. Then again, after that, I'ma still keep shit talking. He said he was a thug, it sound good, we met a bitch out him. Best advice to be my friend, be realistic. I ain't even say a word, I walk in and feel the tension. All these niggas home dick, sometimes life calls for whippings. I'm a joint in my city, I ain't tucking in the trenches.
You know who really for the win, be realistic. He just wanna be my friend, be realistic. They don't really get no Uchis, be realistic. They can't do it how we do it, be realistic, man. Shit, bitch. You know who really for the win, be realistic, man. Yeah. They They can't do it how we do it. Be realistic.
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family like a Japanese meal. It's y'all shoot the hibachi and none of you niggas can stop me, but can't help but watch me. So we've been active all week, y'all. Yap gang activity. You understand? We back again. Tonight, I was going to deal with Remy Iona, however you say my brother's name from Nigeria. I was going to deal with him and read his book to you guys. It's only 49 pages and give my, my insight on what I know with genetics and whatnot, to bolster his claims or whatnot. But since something else happened, a comment was left on my last video. It made me drop this live. So tonight we're going to deal with David Reich's paper that I mentioned in my last video. Because there are claims that we're misrepresenting. Of course, he's probably Africanist, brand new spanking channel he got, and he's using it to comment on our channel, I guess, to push his Africanist idea. And as we always do, we go straight to the literature. I've read that paper before. I'm going to read it live. I was going to save this for a future video, but without no further ado, we're going to read it live. But before we get to it, let's go to his comments and read his contentions, and hopefully he watches. As a matter of fact, if he's in the audience tonight, I am going to leave the link from Giddy Street. You know what I'm saying? From the get-go, it's already up there. Boom. So you can join. The brother has a channel or page, newly created page, which gives me red flags actually on who this person is or if it's a troll account or not. But it is what it is. The brother's name is Mythbusters or something like that. Debunk Myths or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, so we're going to discuss the paper in question that he claims that we're misrepresenting, because we run into the fire. We don't run from the fire. We the firefighters. You understand? We first responders. We come in and deal with the situation right there. We the Marines. You understand? First people to come on the site. So we like challenges, but we're going to see, is there any veracity to any of these claims and allegations that he made yesterday? So first, let's go to YouTube. Let's go to YouTube real quick. We eat, sleep, and drink scientific material. And hopefully I can get more people that's in this small niche community of Black Hebrew Israelites and Afrocentric conscious community to get on board with the scientific wave, man. You either gonna get on board now or drown in a monsoon, right? So with that being said, let me go to the comments here, and then I'm gonna let my brother up right here. Debunk Myths, that's the name of this account. Let me just go to the video. No, I don't want that to play. As I pull it up, let me let my brother up. We got the savant from the Levant in the building. What's cracking?
Shalom, shalom. I can't wait to address this comment since it was directed towards me. If you don't mind, I actually got some papers I would like to share concerning this comment. I'll let you read everything out. But yeah, I'll be back. Give me a quick second. But I got papers that can literally kind of debunk what he said. Give me just 1 minute.
Of course, I want to address some things as well. I want to actually read the paper and show him what the paper actually says. And he can actually come on, hopefully, if he sees this tonight, or if he doesn't come on tonight, maybe in a future episode, he could plan to come on and we can discuss things live. Anyway, so this is his comment here that he left on E1B1A Friday video we did yesterday, Gap Game Phylogeny. About the hour and 16-minute mark, so I'll go there. Avery references the David Wright paper, and I read the David Wright paper later on in this video, the abstract, which is a summation of the ideas of that paper, right? So he says they were not just Paleo-African and did not just have Central hunter-gatherer ancestry. I know the paper you're referring to. They are 64% West African on one model, figure 4, 40% on another, figure 5. I'm no genius, but last I remember, 64% means majority. So what he's referencing is the admixture analysis chart of David Reich's paper. And again, people run to admixture, not understanding what admixture, autosomal admixture denotes. It's in the name, admixture. So I don't
Excuse
get
me. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just came back.
I don't get his point here, and I even say this in the comment. If you know the material, this is not a point of contention here. And this 64% West African, or basal West African, I think the paper frames it, right, is in regards to the Sri Lanka individuals, which don't even cluster with present day West Africans, if you read the paper correctly in its context.
As a matter of fact, he gets it wrong from the very beginning of his first comment. He says, and I just came back, by the way, but I wanted to point this out. You may have already, but he says they were not just Paleo African, and did not just have hunter-gatherer ancestry, and they did have hunter-gatherer ancestry. Actually, they had a pretty significant amount of hunter-gatherer ancestry. I actually have the paper pulled up right now that shows the basal West African, West African ancestry, as well as the hunter-gatherer ancestry. So whenever you're ready, I can pull it up, or you can pull it up. But I have the percentages of the Shumalan Cameroonian remains. Is it Shumalanka or
Shumlaka is. So I had to
Does
say,
he not realize? Does he not realize, like, the basal West Africans, and that the autosomes that were was found amongst these carriers, that these were the women that we procreated with? Like,
exactly?
I'm not understanding. Like, this is more tomfoolery.
Yeah, we're not basal West Africans. I
This
have
is
a paper that can
ridiculous.
prove it too. We're not basal West Africans.
and it's clear. It's clear because in the literature it tells you the haplogroup. So that tells you A00, B2B. Those are different male populations.
Exactly.
What we share in common is the females. So
Exactly.
let me open this paper. Or you want to start, because I'm going to actually read it from top to bottom. But if you want to point something out real quick, which is, he didn't, brother, respectfully, I don't know who you are, but in the end of the day, are you actually reading these papers? I always say that for a reason, because we sit down and analyze these papers. We eat these papers, and, we may not get everything 100%. We're not fucking omniscient, but we actually do this on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go into it first, go ahead.
I'm not going to be long, because you're going to read the whole paper. I'm only going to read a section of it. So let me share my screen really quick. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Is it on the paper now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is the paper. I'm going to read the percentages. Like I said, it says this is from Shumalanka in genetics and archaeological context. Our analysis show that the 4 sampled children from Shumalanka can be modeled as admixed with 35% ancestry related to West Central African hunter-gatherers. West Central African hunter-gatherers, by the way, are pygmy populations. As a matter of fact, you can easily do a Wikipedia search. Do you see it? My page, is it on Wiki?
Yep.
You can easily just type in West African hunter-gatherers, and it literally says West African pygmies, West African foragers, etc. I advise that you actually read the papers, though, specifically. But when it talks about West Central African hunter-gatherers, it's talking about pygmies. So the Shumalanka remains were 35% West Central African hunter-gatherers and 65% from a basal West African related source, or alternatively as a mixture of hunter-gatherer related ancestry plus 2 additional components from one inside of the from one inside the clade of present-day West Africans and one splitting from East and West Africans. But the main thing is this: the 35% ancestors is related to West Central African hunter-gatherers, which is pygmies, and 65% from basal West African related populations, or related source. So what is this basal West African? Because throughout his statement in the comment section, he basically is trying to say that we are literally basal West Africans. That paper is saying that the Shumalanka remains were like 65%
Right.
Yoruba and Mande.
Real quick, let me interject real quick because that was his point. So he's saying that they're not just Western Central African hunter-gatherers; they're also basal West African. And I'm thinking what you just said is his overarching point, which is that hey, they're basal West African, and Yoruba had the basal West African components. Therefore, that he's thinking that's proof that they were landlocked. They were always there.
Mhm.
That's what I
But
think.
yeah, this is the problem. It's not that he's not reading. He's reading. He doesn't understand what he's reading.
Right.
He doesn't understand what he's reading.
But son, the paper says the next sentence. If you keep reading, that's why I want to read the paper in its entirety.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you read the whole thing. I'm just gonna point this quick out. So yeah, again, 35% West Central African hunter-gatherer, 65% basal West African. One quick thing I want to note is that when it comes to these remains, they had haplogroups A and B. Let me show you. Hold on. Well, first, let me show you the mtDNA. mtDNA is L0A and L1C. Here's the Y-DNA, B and A. So we are not paternally descendants of the Shumalanka remains. But now let's get to the basal West African, because again, he's trying to equate basal West African to West African, modern West African populations like Yoruba and Mende. So here's a paper that illustrates. Let me show you the title of the paper. Let me go all the way up. Can you see the paper, by the way?
Yeah, it's on the screen.
It's called Insights into the Human Demographic History of Africa Through Whole Genome Sequence Analysis. Let's get to the part that deals with West African populations having basal West African DNA. So it says right here, according to Sekun et al. 2017, excuse me for mispronunciation, an extinct basal Western African lineage has contributed to current West Africans gene pool, specifically 13% for Mande and 9% for Yoruba. So the Mande only have 13% of this basal West African, and the Yoruba only have 9%. But the Shuma Lanka remains had how much of this basal West African? Scroll to it really quick.
Question that the Yoruba component that you just showed, that would be would that be populations like recent populations?
Yeah, that's like modern Yoruba. The
All
modern
right. So
Yoruba
which
only
means
have
that we're not the reason why it's so low. Now I hope he's listening. The reason why it's so low because the men, they're not our
we're not
the people
literally
that are there
basal
not we're not literally sleeping with these women, these pygmy women anymore. So the component is not the same as when we first got there. When the e-carriers came in, uh, they began to procreate with the women in the basal West African women, which were the pygmies. This is where your basal component comes in. Basal West African component. I mean, in a nutshell, that's how simple it is. But he's not understanding that. He's not reading. He doesn't comprehend what he's reading. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in.
Yeah, but basically the Sri Lanka remains have 65% basal West African. They have a lot more basal West African than us. Again, Mande only have 13%, Yoruba only have 9%. So even autosomally, we don't have much basal West African. But regardless of the autosomal DNA, the Sri Lanka remains had haplogroups A and B. We are not them. We're E1B1A. So I don't know what he's trying to prove with his comments. Again, it seems like he's trying to allude and
He's
say
a
that
dilettante.
we are literally descendants of the Sri Lanka, but we're not. I mean, maybe he is, but we're not.
Yeah.
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 But I'll let you go ahead, Yeshu, with your presentation. I just wanted to show people how much basal West African we actually have compared to the Shumalanka remains.
Shout out to Adam K in the building, man. The Dublin, Belfast.
Where's he
Oh,
at?
Adam's
He's
here?
coming
I
up.
didn't see him.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
He's in the
Okay.
chat.
Hey, shalom, Adam. What's up?
Shalom, Adam. What's going on, brother?
So let's go back to his statement, right? Well, he exactly says they were not just Paleo-African, did not just have Central Hunter and Ghana ancestors. That was his argument, that they just have that. You eloquently show what the percentages meant and whatnot. I know the paper you're referring to there, 64% West African on one model, figure 4, 3% on another, figure 5.
And see, he's playing games. He's saying, sorry to cut you off, but he's saying 64% West African. It's basal West African, not just West African.
Yeah, it's not, and the paper says that's why I'm going to just show the paper. But that's what he's conflating. He's like, since it says West African, therefore you guys are these people, or you guys were there, or whatever the case may be. But if you read the paper, actually, it doesn't say that. If anything, it says that. It says the opposite. With the available data, what's actually empirical, which is the remains, right? That's where they're getting these figures and numbers from. He says, I'm no genius, but last I remember, 64% means majority. Why do they need Yoruba-specific autosomal DNA? They both carry basal West African. Yoruba are not ancestral to Bantus, just like they're not ancestral to every other West African group.
Oh, my goodness. There's so much wrong with that.
I know. They're simply a branch themselves. So I get what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, oh, present-day Yoruba are not ancestral. I'm guessing this is what he's trying to say, right? I'm just trying to unlock this. I wish he was here. Present-day
Let
Yoruba.
me tell them that we're live. I'm going to text them.
Yeah, present-day Yoruba are not ancestral to Bantus, of course. But the Bantus and Yoruba actually share a ancestral male population that they both derive from, because they both mainly E1B1A. That's how we know that. Different clades and different branches, however, EU290, the branch I come from, is associated with the Bantu expansion, right? So, of course, Yoruba are not all EU290. We know that. But when I responded, I was like, well, maybe he's talking about the scientific field in general and why they use the Yoruba DNA as like a proxy for, most West African or Sub-Saharan African people. And I tried to explain that. And I said, I'm trying.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said that.
Right. I said, I'm trying to.
My bad. That's what. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's what I meant when I said Yoruba, because he has a timestamp of me talking. That was when I joined and I said Yoruba, and I used that in the generic sense of West African, because most of these papers, when they say Yoruba related DNA, it's talking about basically West African DNA, because they use Yoruba as a proxy, and most of those West African populations share the exact same DNA as the Yoruba. Igbos, Yoruba, Mande, they're all pretty much genetically the same, and so that's what I meant when I was in that.
Right, but he's misunderstanding the graph. So once I started reading this more, I was like, oh, he's looking at the graph, and he's saying, oh, they're on their own separate branch. After I made this comment, but let me say this anyway. It said the Yoruba are used as ancestral to other populations for several reasons. One being that the putative route for E1B1A peoples begin in Nigeria and moves eastward/southward. Another reason because Niger-Kordofan is ancestral to the Bantu languages. So the argument is linguistic. The Niger-Kordofan is older than the Bantu languages which they spring from. So therefore, that population represents a more ancestral population to the Bantu from a linguistic standpoint. So that's why a lot of times they will use Yoruba. They do have, in the 1,000 Genome Project, they do use the Luya to represent all Bantu people. And those are East African groups. But guess what? They're still E1B1A people, and they come from the Bantu expansion. That's why they use them, right? And they average about 15% Eurasian DNA. Anyway, the Reich paper in 2020 is clear. The original habit is based on specimen, not based on postulation, right? Not based on what we think, but what we found in Cameroon that dates to 3,000 BCE. based on those people, which they were related because they actually do an IBD test on these people to see how closely related they were. Based on that, this population does not represent modern West Africans. The paper says that, right? The paper says that. Hold on, because we got Lewis in the back. I don't want you on until after we're finished doing this. It says of Sri Lanka were not ancestral to present E1B1A population. It's clear. He retorts, they carry significant West African ancestry.
Again,
Basal. Right. Go look at figure 4, 5, and 6. Now, once did they even try to model them or anyone else with Yoruba? Why didn't they model them with the Yoruba? If you look at the graph we're about to see in a minute, it's because the Yoruba don't come from the same male population or same basal population or original population as the people that were found in Sri Lanka. Hence, Yoruba being largely E1B1A and the Sri Lanka individuals being A and B haplogroups. He says Yoruba formed their own branch, just like Mende did. In fact, Lamande are closest to Bantu and used as a Bantu-related proxy. Go and review that study again. So after I read this, like, oh, you're looking at the graph and then making your judgment on the graph. But if you're looking at the graph, why do you make this statement here, the Central Hunter-Gatherer ancestry, when the graph labels the Sri Lankan individuals as Central Hunter-Gatherer?
literally, bro.
Anyway, we're going to show all that. Vernon Robinson basically said whether the Yoruba or Bantu are derived from each other is immaterial. I think he was trying to say something like non-consistent.
Irrelevant or something.
Yeah, right. Neither non-sequitur. Yeah, neither is related to the Sri Lanka. Exactly, that's the point. Period, point blank, and that's stated at the 1 minute 17 marker. There is no evidence indicating otherwise. Then Ivry says the 4 Cameroonian remains were Paleo-African that carried A and B, not E1B1A, and that's what we mean by Paleo-African, by the way. Right. Furthermore, they did carry Hunter-Gatherer ancestry, aka Pygmy ancestry. They carry West African Hunter-Gatherer ancestry, not Yoruba, Igbo, or Mande ancestry. West African Hunter-Gatherer. Basically, those Cameroonian remains didn't carry Niger, Congo, or Bantu ancestry in their autosomal. Let alone they didn't carry relevant haplogroup E1B1A, but instead haplogroup A and B, which is Paleo-African. And he responds to Ivry. He says they carry basal West African ancestry. Yes, we agree with that. Stop using terms they didn't use. It's ironic. The same people you make videos about daily saying they're misrepresenting data and research. Use the correct scientific terminology they use. And he put an exclamation mark. You notice the Africanist because he's in his feelings. Both Yoruba and Sri Lanka are derived from a basal West African lineage. So this is his point of bringing this out. Oh, they
remember. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Remember.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Remember, the Yoruba only have like 9% of
right.
basal West African.
Right. That's why I want
to have like 64.
I want to read this. That's why I want to keep reading.
Oh, my bad.
He says, stop deflecting. This basal West African lineage makes up 100% of the ancestry of Yoruba, Lamanda, and me. Where is that in the paper?
100%. We are 100% basal West African.
Yeah, you're the one misrepresenting this paper, Debunk Myths.
Looks like he's the one getting debunked right now.
This statement right here is not in the paper. They
not
say
in any paper.
64% of the ancestry of Sri Lanka.
No,
Yoruba not 100% basal West African.
No paper says that. Like we just read, Mende only have 13%, and Yoruba have, let me check again, 9%. Where is this 100%? I mean, the Yoruba even have like 12% Ibero-Mauritian DNA. How are they going to have 100% basal West African but 12% Ibero-Mauritian? Like that doesn't even make sense. I can pull that paper up too.
They got Eurasian components. They got, come on, man. He said, you both share that in common. They're not 100% Central Hunter-Gatherer, which no one's saying in the papers. But they are classified as Central Hunter-Gatherers, and they are classified as Paleo-African because of the clades. You're not familiar with this work, are you? You're not familiar with the field. We can tell.
He's a dilettante. It's a dilettante.
again, don't misrepresent the facts. But you said here this basal West African lineage makes up 100% of the ancestry of Yoruba, Lamanda, and Mende. That's not true.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of ironic that his name is Debunking Myths, and he's literally getting debunked right now. Excuse me.
You misrepresent the facts. They did not use Yoruba as a proxy or Igbo. Nobody cares. The most important thing was the basal West African, which they do indeed have. Yes, they do have basal West African. Yoruba have basal West African. But it damn sure ain't 100%. But they got that through admixture. Right? The oldest E1B1As that we have on the record are not in Western Central Africa. They found in East Africa, in North Africa.
Egypt, Ramses.
Yeah, Egypt and the Mota individual, which is in this study, by the way. He says, no, now go ahead and try to deny the literature. That's what you're doing here. And stick to using and paraphrasing the study. Stop making stuff up. Wait a minute. This is making stuff up.
Bro, this is so insane. Like the cognitive
what you accuse the other of. I'm angry. This is my keyboard anger. You know, dude, what the fuck, man? You're literally misrepresenting the paper, claiming we're misrepresenting the paper. Where in the paper does it say this? The basal West African lineage makes up 100% of ancestry of you.
That's because the whole time he kept saying West African, and then this time he says basal West African. Like, he's purposely trying to like flip flop the language.
Right.
This next sentence, the first sentence in his next statement, is crazy as well.
Hold on real quick.
Go ahead.
He said, "Look, he's spitting facts. Go to the paper. We
Wait,
don't
what?
Commentary, bro?
How is he spitting facts?
So all
he must
you
have not been here.
Hold on, stop, y'all. Everybody stop, because I'm gonna read the paper from top to bottom. That's the whole point of this video. Asiatic man, join the stream. Join the stream.
Before you read the paper, I just want to read that.
Stop. Hold on. Hold your horses. Asiatic, join the stream, and I want you to show in this paper that the Yoruba is 100% basal West African. All right, let me keep reading. Let's go back, because you're Africanist too, I presume. Let's go back. Let's read the rest of this. He goes on to say, and quote, within the West African clade, we identify Yoruba and Mende as sister groups, with Lamande as an outgroup, and most basally a separate West African-related lineage contributing to Shumlaka. What do you not understand what you just
Isn't that?
Hold on, brother.
Exactly.
Did you just hear? Were you actually reading this or just copy and pasting this? A separate West African-related lineage contributing to Shumlaka at 64%. That's what the paper says.
Doesn't it say as an outgroup right here? Within the West African clade, we identify you.
Let's talk about the Lamandi. This is the sentence right here that he has to focus on. A separate West African related lineage contributing to Shumlaka. That's the basal West African source, right? A Bantu associated source most closely related to Lamandi contributes 59% of the ancestry in the Aka and 26% in the Mbuti, who also harbor 17% from an East African agro-pastoral related source. And then look what he says. This is directly from the source. Shumlaka are 64% West African. Bro, this is what it says. Most basally a separate West African related lineage contributing to Shumlaka. Separate. What does separate mean? Separate. That's what we gotta do. Separate. I'm talking about me and you. Dude, are you reading this?
Bro.
They just separated from the West African root earlier. That's his argument here. That's not what it's saying. It says the Lamande, which is the most Bantu-like separated next from the root, and last Yoruba and Minda are sister groups and split off from each other last. Perfectly illustrated in Figure 4. Stop trying to paint them as totally unrelated. It's ridiculous. Who's painting these people as totally unrelated? Of course, we're going to share autosomal segments with them because we admix with the women there. Hence, E1B1A carriers with the same maternal markers as these original people. Meaning men picked up women and now their children have mtDNA from that region. Your claim, as you said earlier, is that this basal West African lineage makes up 100% of the ancestry Yoruba. That's not supported by the paper.
Not any paper.
Anyway, let me keep going. Then I said, I'm going live tonight and actually read the article. It's clear what the paper is stating. The Schumacher individuals are not ancestral majority of modern day West Africans. Now let's go to the paper.
I sent him another message saying we're live right now. You can't see that one because I just sent it, but he has no excuse not to be here. It's not like we didn't tell him to come. I sent a message right now telling him we're live. So,
right. So right here, the paper, high be praised. Exactly. The paper clearly say the Schumacher samples had no genetic links to modern West African populations. Exactly.
I wonder if this was like a conscious community person trying to trap us
I
in
was
West
about to
Africa,
say, yeah.
or an Asiatic person, like a European or whatever, trying to trap us there. I don't know.
I think it's somebody from the conscious community,
really?
a Pan-Africanist, like
with a fake account,
right.
You're not going to join live.
Testing the waters, right? Testing to see if they can trip us up somewhere, but won't come live. Won't come live. But seem to pick up a few articles lately and read and don't know what the hell they're reading.
Sean, you
can't comprehend, huh?
You message him too for him to come, so he don't get the excuse that nobody told him to come.
Right, so can't comprehend, and not comprehending what it is he's reading. He's reading, but he's not comprehending it.
No, we're the ones misrepresenting this. We're the ones that are wrong here, obviously. So this is the graph he's talking about here, right? 3 represents this Central African area here, different branches in the Central Africa, right? 2 represents this East African area going towards the Horn. That's what this branch means. And what do you see here? Mota, which is E1B1A2, right? Plus 29% Ghost in modern, 10% Ghost modern, and the Bantu associated Lamande. So this is what he's saying. See, they got a separate branch here, right? That's what he's referring to, this tree here. So what is this tree showing you, right? Then you see the basal West African component here as well. There's a Bantu associated component, Lamande, Yoruba, and Mende. Then up here you have the Shumlaka, who have a plus 64% basal West African. And the Kai, as we read, has a 59% Bantu associated.
That looks like it's completely separate from us.
The Mbuti, which is another largely hunter-gatherer population, right?
Yeah, they're literally pygmies. Yeah.
Plus 26% Bantu associated, plus 17% East African agro-pastoralists associated. Then they have another branch here, Ghost modern, which we don't know what that is, right? You have that here. So what is this showing you? Right? Anybody? This is the thing. Are you reading this stuff or are you just looking at the graph?
None of this is my DNA, by the way.
This is
Yeah, it's an admixture, graph.
Right. This is an admixture graph analysis. Admixture graph results, points at which multiple lineages are shown divergent simultaneously, indicate splits occurring in short succession, the order of which we cannot confidently assess. So what he's doing is going off the order of the branch here. I see basal West African here. I see Bantu. So he's going off order and say, yeah, this is all interconnected that way, like a vertical relateness.
He thinking that's lineages.
Right. First of all, it is lineages, but it's like autosomal lineages.
Yeah, autosomal lineages, but not wide lineages.
Right. So this is not vertical descent, what you're looking at. Understand what it's thou readest, right? That's a biblical principle. It says here, but do not represent exact multifurcations. Did you hear that? It does not represent exact multiplications. What is a multiplication? It's the branch out points.
Like a Y-DNA haplogroup.
Read these papers, man. Start fucking reading. You people don't fucking read. That's the problem. You looked at this graph. You just looked at it. Picture pages, picture pages. Bill Cosby, picture page. You can't do that, especially with technical papers, bro. You got to actually read this shit. All right? This is why I said we're going to read this top to bottom. And, you know, I encourage everybody to open a damn book.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
I'm going to need y'all to fucking read, man. This is the issue. You know, where's the crayon and pencils? Exactly. Guys, a picture. This reminds me of the brother was like, he quoted the book about what's that book about the Jews in the 1900s, and I quoted a book about there's Negro Jews. He said, I don't know if the brother seen the book or read the book because the pictures are full of white Jews. So you're not going to read the fucking passage that said there were Negro Jews amongst the Mohammedans. You're not going to read that. You're just going to look at the pictures. Anyway, let me keep reading. But do not represent exact multiplications. A multiplication is basically where they branch off at. All right, that's where they represent all this. This doesn't mean that X leads to Y or whatever the next branch you see off of here. It doesn't mean that. The key points are one, the early modern split is what you see here. East African divergent is number 2 right here. The expansion of ancestry associated with Bantu speakers. Branch links are not drawn to scale. And A is full model. Extended data is figure 4. Proportion not well constrained. B is geographical structure. Shaded areas denote hypothesized historical locations of lineage descended from split point. And A, and branching order shown for populations descended from split point. Number 2. One ancestry component, pure population with leaf nodes and sampling location. The blue star represents Shumlaka. So Shumlaka's here, boom. And then these branches are hypothetical points of bifurcation and branching off, right? Anyway, so I wanted to take time to actually give y'all an understanding of what that graph is denoting. Instead of someone, again, we just talked about this last night. People make these definitive claims on probabilities and stuff that they're honest in the paperwork. They're honest in the paperwork. They tell you, hey, this does not represent this. But you go around and spout it as if it does represent that and it's definitive. Didn't I just go over that with y'all last night? Do you learn anything? Now, let's read. The ancient West African foragers in the context of African population history. You see all the geneticists that were involved. We always give a shout out to David Reich. 2020 when it was published. Let me blow this up a little bit. Our knowledge of ancient human population structure in sub-Saharan Africa, particularly prior to the advent of food production, remains limited. So real quick, everybody knows that deals with sub-Saharan Africa in the field of genetics and genomics, that it's a piecemeal, meaning it's very obscure, especially before the advent of the Bantu expansion. So here we report genome-wide DNA data from 4 children, 2 of whom were buried approximately 8,000 years ago and 2 3,000 years ago from Shumlaka, Cameroon, one of the earliest known archaeological sites within the probable homeland of the Bantu language group. one individual carried the deeply divergent Y chromosome haplogroup A00, which today is found almost exclusively in the same region. However, the genome-wide ancestry profiles of all 4 individuals are most similar to those of present-day hunter-gatherers from Western Central Africa, which implies that populations in Western Cameroon today, as well as speakers of Bantu languages from across the continent, are not descended substantially from the population represented by these 4 people. We infer an African-wide phylogeny that features widespread admixture and 3 prominent radiations, including the one that gave rise to at least 4 major lineages deep in the history of modern humans.
Wait a minute, you shoot. So all he had to do was read the abstract?
Yeah.
Dang.
Exactly, D-Red.
See, this is what happens. This is
Go
what
ahead.
happens. This is what happens when you read to debunk as opposed to reading to learn. You're so emotional when you read because you're trying to figure out a way to trip us up that you just tripped your own self up. Read to learn. Do that. Don't read to try to debunk.
And also, I want everybody to pay attention and show me an article where it says that the Yoruba have 100% basal African. All right, let's keep reading. So the paper says, let me go back to it right here. The deposits at Shumlak, a rock shelter located in the Grassfields region of Western Cameroon, are among the most important archaeological sources for the study of late Pleistocene and Holocene prehistory in Western Central Africa. The oldest human occupied layers at the site date to about 30,000 calendar years before present. But of special interest are artifacts and skeletons dating to between the end of the later Stone Age, about 8,000 BP, and the beginning of the Iron Age, about 2,500 BP. This transitional period, sometimes referred to as the Stone to Metal Age, featured a gradual appearance of new stone tools as well as pottery. Subsistence evidence in the rock shelter during the Stone to Metal Age points primarily to foraging, but with an increasing use of fruits of Canarium that coincided with developments in material culture and served as foundation for later agriculture. These cultural changes in their early appearance at Shumlaka are particularly intriguing because during the late Holocene epoch, the area around the present-day border between Cameroon and Nigeria was probably the cradle of the Bantu language groups and of populations whose descendants would spread across much of the southern half of Africa between 3,000 and 1,500 BP, resulting in a vast range and diversity of Bantu languages today. A total of 18 human skeletons have been discovered at Shumlaka, comprising 2 distinct burial places. We attempted to retrieve DNA from 6 petrous bone samples and obtain working data from 2 individuals of the early Stone to Metal Age and 2 of the late Stone to Metal Age, about 3,000 to 8,000, 3,000 BP respectively. It says the 2 early individuals, a boy of 4 plus minus 1 years old at the time of death, lying on top of the lower limbs of an adolescent male, 15 plus or minus 3 years old, were recovered from a primary double burial, and the 2 later individuals, a boy of 8 plus or minus 2 years and a girl of 4 plus or minus 1 years, were in adjacent primary single burials. We extracted DNA from the bone powder and prepared 2 or 4 libraries per individual for Illumina sequencing, enriching for about 1.2 million target single nucleotide polymorphisms, SNPs, across the genome. Final coverage ranged from 0.7 to 7.7 times. The authenticity of the data was supported by an observed rate of apparent C to T substitutions in the final base of sequence fragments and of heterozygosity for mitochondrial DNA. We also generate whole genome shotgun sequence data for individuals, as well as genome-wide data for 63 individuals from 5 present-day Cameroonian populations. Uniparental markers and kinship analysis. All of the mtDNA and Y chromosome haplogroups we observe at Shumlak are associated today with sub-Saharan Africans. The 2 early individuals carry mtDNA L0A, which is widespread in Africa, and 2 later individuals L1C, which is found among both farmers and hunter-gatherers in Central West Africa. And that's what we were trying to say earlier. These people share the same women, right? So therefore, they're going to share the same autosomes. Anyway, let's keep reading. So individuals 2-SE1 and 4/A have Y chromosomes from macrohaplogroup B, often found today in hunter-gatherers from Central Africa. And 2/SE2 has the rare Y chromosome haplogroup A00. Shout out to Rob Bourne and shout out to 93. It says, which was discovered in 23 and is present at appreciable frequencies only in Cameroon, in particular among the Imbo and Bangwa in the western part of the country. A00 is the oldest known branch in the modern human Y chromosome tree, with a split time about 300,000 to 200,000 BP from all other known lineages. At 1,666 positions that differ from present-day A00, in all other Y chromosomes, the sequence of Schumacher individuals carried a non-reference allele at a total of 1,015/21, translating to a within A00 split at about 3,700 to 2,500 BP. And real quick, if they represent this split from this A00, they've been circulating these areas, not necessarily being landlocked, because there's something that's going to be said in this paper that's very intriguing. I actually shared a couple days ago, what was said in this paper about the different components that made up this early West African group. It says here, leveraging the effects of chromosomal segments that are shared identical by descent, we computed rates of allele matching for each pair of individuals to infer degrees of relatedness. Both of the contemporaneous pairs display elevated levels of matching. 2/SE1 and 2/SE2 share alleles at the level of fourth degree relatives, and 4/A and 5/B at the level of the second degree relatives. So these people are relatively close, meaning that population was relatively close that they belong to, right? Either uncle and niece, aunt and nephew, or half siblings. Supporting archaeological interpretation that during both burial phases, the rock shelter was used as a cemetery for extended families. We would expect more recent shared ancestry for the contemporaneous pairs, even if they were not closely related, but we observe clear signatures of long IBD segments across the genome, which confirms their close family relatedness. All four individuals also have evidence of intra-individual IBD and thus a recent inbreeding. So the individuals from 8,000 BP connect to the individuals of 3,000 BP. They're all interconnected and related through the IBD method. But guess who they're not connected to, which is what the paper is going to say. Majority of present-day West Africans. You said that's how Garfield reads. That's how PCA and allele sharing statistics. So we all know what PCA charts do. PCA charts pretty much test for affinity across groups through our autosomes, right? It says we visualize the genome-wide relationship between the Schumacher individuals and diverse present-day and ancient sub-Saharan Africans. Using principal components analysis, initially we computed axes using East and West Africans and hunter-gatherers from Southern Africa and East and Central Africa. The Schumacher individuals project to the right of the present-day West African populations and speakers of the Bantu language. Hereafter, Bantu speakers are closest to present-day hunter-gatherers from Cameroon. So they tell you who these people connect to. The Schumacher individuals, which are the oldest representing individuals of Western Central Africa, connect to, what does it say here? Because I want to point something out in this paper real quick, right? These people connect to present-day hunter-gatherers from Cameroon, the Baka, Bakola, and Benson. That's what it says. What the fuck are you reading, man? Obviously, you did not read this.
Wait, read that again.
Let me read it one more time. The Schumacher individuals project to the right of the present-day West African population and speaker of Bantu languages. Hereafter, Bantu speakers and are closest to present-day hunter-gatherers from Cameroon. This is in reference to the Schumacher individuals that the paper is made after. They're related to these hunter-gatherers, Baka, Bakola, and Betson, and the hunter-gatherers of Cameroon. In the Central African Republic and Akai, often known as Biaka, we then carried out a second PCA using only West and East Africans and Akai to compute the axis. And again, the Schumacher individuals project the direction of hunter-gatherers from West and Central Africa. Did you read this?
By the way, those groups, Baka, Aka, and some of the others, those are all pygmy populations in West Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa, excuse me. So that's what I meant also when I said Paleo-African, because those would be Paleo-Africans.
Watch this. By contrast, present-day groups from Western Cameroons who speak languages of the Niger-Congo family cluster tightly with other West Africans. They cluster tightly with other West Africans. What does by contrast mean? These people do not share the same common direct ancestry as the Shumlaka individuals. But who does share the same common ancestry is the hunter-gatherers.
Mm-hmm.
What are you not seeing here?
And that's why I said Niger, Congo, and Bantu. That those Shumalanka people were not Niger, Congo, and Bantu. I used those generic terms, which the paper did use. He said that the paper didn't use the terms I used, and it's right there.
Bro, that's how you know you
Congo.
went to the graph. But even if you just went to the graph, bro, let's go down to the graph real quick. What does that say right there? Central Africa hunter-gatherer related.
Oh, right, it does.
It says it on the damn page, on the graph that you are referencing.
It also mentions Mende. You can go back down really quick. It also mentions Mende in Yoruba, and he said the paper never talked about Mende in Yoruba. It's right there.
No, he said they did. It doesn't say that the Bantus descend directly from the Yoruba.
Oh, okay, my bad.
That's what he was saying, because he's looking at how it's all branched out.
Okay, my bad.
That's what he was saying. Anyway, let's go back up. So, as we can see, by contrast, present-day groups from Western Cameroon speak languages from Niger-Congo family cluster tightly with other West Africans. In both plots, the two earlier Shumlaka individuals fall slightly closer to West and East Africans, but on the basis of their overall similarity. What does that mean? The overall admixture, overall autosome. There's no clade relationship here. When you have a clade relationship, you're going to share the same fathers, right? Or mothers, right? We group all four Shumlaka individuals together for most subsequent analysis. Using the F statistics, we investigated components of deep ancestry from sources that diverge earlier than the split between non-Africans and most sub-Saharan Africans above 0.2, figure 4a. We begin with the statistic F4, which is expected to be positive if deep ancestry is in population X, induced allele sharing between X and the ancient South African hunter-gatherers. Hold on real quick. I want to show something real quick here. On this Y chromosome phylogeny, circles represent mutations along the unrooted A00 lineage, where we observe the alternative field or reference empty allele in the A00 sequence carried by Shumlaka individual to that 2/SE2. Branch links are not drawn to scale, KYR 1,000 years. So as you can see, the Shumlaka individuals largely, exclusively descend from A00 and B, right? And as you can see, this is branching off of A00. Other haplogroups don't even come from directly branching off of A right here. They become their own different branches, D, E, C, F. We know the whole thing right here. These are different groups of males making up the composition of West Africa. Population X induces allele sharing between X and the ancient South African hunter-gatherers, with a baseline of 0 set by Mercier, a group of pastoralists from Western Ethiopia who speak an Aladic language. The Shumlaka individuals show a large positive statistic that is comparable to that of hunter-gatherers from the Western Central Africa, whereas other West Africans, for example, Yoruba and Mende, yield smaller, but still significantly positive. And that's what you was bringing out earlier, too, about that 9%. It says, values as do East African hunter-gatherers, the Hadza from Tanzania, as well as the ancient individual from the Moda cave in Ethiopia. Hereafter, Moda individual, dating to approximately 4,400 BP, so about 2,500 BC. We also obtained consistent results from analogous statistics using different referencing groups. Next, using chimpanzees as an outgroup that is symmetric to all human populations, we computed F4 to evaluate whether any of this deep ancestry is from sources that diverge more deeply than Southern African hunter-gatherers. Previous work has shown that Southern African hunter-gatherers are not a symmetric outgroup relative to other sub-Saharan Africans. What does that mean? I wish he was here so I could just question him on every point. What does that mean?
I mean, we got Asiatic Lion.
He didn't want to join.
Oh.
So right here, it says here, What does symmetric mean? Relative, what does that mean? The paper is saying the same shit over and over again. There's no way you sat down and read and comprehended this. Previous work has shown that Southern African hunter-gatherers are not symmetric outgroup relative to other sub-Saharan Africans. West Africans, especially the Mende, have assessed affinity towards deeper outgroups. Indeed, our test statistics is maximized in the Mende and other West Africans. The Hausa and Moda individual have values close to 0. And the Shumlaka individuals and Central African hunter-gatherers are intermediate. Some populations yield positive values for both F4 statistics, but the two sets are poorly correlated, which implies that at least in part reflects separate signals. This is explaining what you see here. This is why West Africans cluster with West Africans, and the Shumlaka individuals cluster tightly with Central African hunter-gatherers.
It's even in the graph.
God damn, man. Anyway. It says here, combining our newly genotyped individuals with published data, we search for differential allele sharing between Shumlaka individuals compared to either East African, Somali, or the Aka and present-day Cameroonians. We identified 3 distinct clusters: 1, the Mata and Fulani; 2, the hunter-gatherers; and 3 other populations who speak in the Niger-Congo family. Within the 3rd cluster are the only groups Imbo, Ahim, Alafu, whom live close to the site of Shumlaka today, with significantly Shumlaka-directed statistics in both dimensions, consistent with small proportions of Shumlaka-related admixture, a maximum about 7 to 8%. The admixture graph analysis. Finally, we built an admixture graph co-modeling the Shumlaka, Mota, and ancient South African hunter-gatherer individuals, present-day Mbuti, Aka, Agon, speaking of an Asiatic language from Ethiopia, the Yoruba, Mende, and Lamundi, non-Africans, French, and 2 outgroups, Neanderthal and chimpanzees. We also fit versions of the model using alternative sniff ascertainments in additional populations: Hassa, Imbo, Harel, Chua, Mercy, Baka, Bakola, Benson, and others, right? And Fulani and ancient individuals from Tafaran and Morocco. It obtained similar results. Among modern humans, the deepest splitting branch is inferred to be the only that leads to Central African hunter-gatherers. Although 4 lineages diverge in a very short span, those contribute to the primary ancestry to 1, Central African hunter-gatherers; 2, South African hunter-gatherers; 3, and other modern populations, along with a ghost source that contributes a minority of the ancestry in West Africans and the Mota individual. Central African hunter-gatherers separate into Eastern Mbuti and Western clades. The later then branches into components representing the Aka and Shumlaka individuals. Next, a second cluster of divergence involves West Africans, 2 East African lineages, one associated with hunter-gatherers and another with agro-pastoralists, and non-Africans who are typically inferred to split closest to the Mota individual, but with no deep goat ancestry. So it's explaining this graph right here, right? This is why you see the French and the Mota splitting. That doesn't mean the Mota and the French share the same common paternal ancestry. That's not what that's saying. Anyway, within the West African clade, we identify Yoruba and Minda as sister groups, and most basically a separate lineage that contributed to the Shumlaka individuals. And that's what he quoted. A source associated with Bantu speakers most closely related to Lamundi contributes 59% of ancestry in Aka and 26% in the Mbuti. In a model separating the 2 pairs of Shumlaka individuals, the pair dating to 3000 BP have about 5% more ancestry related to hunter-gatherers from Central Africa, as confirmed by significantly positive statistic at 4, Shumlaka 8000 BP, Shumlaka 3000 BP, Yoruba, Aka. We can also obtain a good fit for Shumlaka individuals in a less parsimonious alternative model using 3 components, replacing the basal African source with a combination of ancestry from inside the clade defined by the other West African populations and from a source directly outside of the West African clade, near one lineage that contributes to the Tafaran individuals. However, 2 component models for Shumlaka individuals that have the majority source splitting closer to other West or East Africans are rejected. Did y'all hear that? Anyway, the West African clade is distinguished by admixture from a deep source that can be modeled as a combination of modern human and archaic ancestry. The modern human component diverges at almost the same point as the Central and Southern African hunter-gatherers and is tentatively related to the deep source that contributes ancestors to multi-individual. And that archaic component diverges close to the split between Neanderthals and modern humans. The signals of deep ancestry in groups related to West African clade can be explained by two admixture events, one along the ancestral West African lineage and a second smaller contribution, about 4% to the Mende from the same source. So wait a minute. The paper tells you that 4%. Never mind. I'm not going to spoon feed this nigga no more. They'll just keep reading. Anyway, accordingly, F4 statistics tested for ancestry based on the South African hunter-gatherers are well correlated with the inferred proposition of the ancestry from West African clade. We estimated the shared admixture to introduce 10% deep modern humans and 2% archaic ancestry, although the first proportion is not well constrained. And that goes with what you said about the 9% basal West African.
For Yoruba and people like that?
Yeah. Because basal West African, what does basal mean first, right? Yeah. At the base. And that's really going back to the advent of Homo sapiens and which is what this paper talks about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Although the first proportion is not well constrained. An alternative model with no archaic component in which the West African clade receives deep ancestry from a single source that splits before 0.1. And that's what I just basically said here. This will be where Homo sapiens derive, right? That's where that old basal West African ancestry is going back to, in which these groups only have about, 10%? And the Mende have about 4%. It says here, in which West African clade receives deep ancestry from a single source that splits before 0.1 in figure 4a, also provides a reasonable fit to the data, although it does not account for previous evidence of archaic ancestry in sub-Saharan Africans. Genetics and archaeology at Shumlaka. Our analysis showed that the 4 sample children from Shumlaka can be modeled as admixed with about 35% ancestry related to hunter-gatherers from Western Central Africa and about 65% from basal West African source. Again, the shared admixture that other West Africans have is average about 10%, and the Mende about 4%, as we just read. They have about 65%. Why? Because these people are A00 and B. That makes sense. We're not Paleo-Africans. Yoruba do not derive Paleo-Africans. We come from DE. We split off 70,000 years ago. What part of that y'all don't get? We're Yap. We're Yap.
Yeah, these Shumalaka remains will be Yap negative, actually. Yeah.
Right. We Yap positive, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says here, from a basal West African source, alternatively a mixture of ancestry related to hunter-gatherers plus 2 additional components, one from inside the clade of present-day West Africans and one that splits between East and West Africans. The first component plausibly represents ancestry that has been present in the area since at least the later Stone Age prior to 8000 BP. Whereas the second component, and that's big, the first component plausibly represents ancestry that has been present in the area since at least the later Stone Age. Whereas the second component, or the third in the alternative model, may have its origins. Here's the point right here I want you to bring out. May have its origins farther to the north, given the geography and phylogeny of the other populations we study. And what's interesting about that is you have A markers in Sardinia, right? So you can't even trap A markers in sub-Saharan Africa because they have components from outside of sub-Saharan Africa. See what happens when you actually read this stuff? Let's read it again. Whereas the second component or third in the alternative model may have its origins farther to the north, given the geography and phylogeny of other populations we studied. The chronology of the archaeological record at Shumlaka also suggests a possible northern influence on cultural developments during the Stone to Metal Age. These developments include changes in stone tools, which can be interpreted as a fusion of local tool-making traditions of the later Stone Age with new macrolithic technology that were introduced from the north. If y'all remember my video from a year ago, if you've been following me for a while, we covered this macrolithic technology that was ushered in by Ibero-Maurutians.
Yeah, I was just about to say that because Ibero-Maurutians did carry I think 40 to 30% West African DNA. which was Yoruba, but also there was Dinka related DNA in it too.
Now, I know you want to finish this, but Sword and Book just posed a question. And I guess he's saying here, let me read it. What's that ghost population that contributes to both Moda and West African? Moda is E1B1A2, and West Africans are E1B1A1. That must be their paternal ancestor if basal West Africans is their maternal.
Shout out
So
to
I guess he's assuming that again. He's assuming that this ghost population, tr- this ghost population DNA uh, is part of the E1B1A or the paternal clade. Explain that to
listen.
him.
My brother Adam K said it best.
Oh man, Adam, thank you, brother.
We're not archaic hominids.
Exactly.
They must
That
be
ghost
watching,
population, man. These dudes, they tried and it's probably the same dude with this. That whole crew is in here.
bro. They're getting this from
Him,
Danoy.
Asiatic,
They,
the
they,
whole crew is here.
they're getting this from Danoy. This sounds exactly what Danoy is trying to do to us.
Nah, they getting it from,
Typical
doing
DNA.
some reading and just because, they associate us with being landlocked in Africa and, the Africans are supposed to be the first people on the planet, then we must be archaic. These idiots.
Hold on, I will address you Sword and Book after I finish reading. He says not archaic. It's a modern. It's a modern ghost population. Okay,
Really?
we'll,
Okay.
we'll address that and actually give you what the scientific paper
Drop
says.
the link for him, by the way.
hmm
Shoot.
Exactly.
Pretty Unicorn says there's no proof Moda was E1B1A2. It only says that on Wiki. The data still say Moda is E1B1. That's because you're reading the old papers, but the up-to-date analysis of that, they were able to further, analyze his DNA and determine that he is E1B1A2. Anyway, let's keep going. I'll address that second part, Sword, in the book in a minute.
By the way, Moda Man did not give people in sub-Saharan Africa the E marker. Moda Man is not even
He's 4,500
at
years
all.
old. He's
Yeah.
45 years old.
Like what?
Doesn't even make sense. We come from a haplogroup that's 70,000 years old.
Exactly. Plus, Moda Man's haplogroup is only in people in Ethiopia, a particular group known as the Omotic people, specifically within the Omotic people, the Ari Omotic people. Those are the only people that connect closest to Moda Man and have his haplogroup. So,
Shout out to Moda Man, my ancient relative.
yeah, shout out to Moda.
Hey, look, Moda Man gave people in Southern Africa. So before,
No.
okay, we'll go with that. So before Moda Man, there was no people in Sub-Saharan Africa with E. That's retarded, man. Anyway, I
The
mean,
whole
sorry,
Dilettante clan is
I
here.
don't,
The
mean, I
whole
don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm sorry, damn. My bad, Sword and Butt book. That is not intelligible. Let's keep going. Anyway, as you can see, which can be interpreted as a fusion of local tool making traditions at later Stone Age with new macrolithic technologies that were introduced from the north. And to the appearance of ceramics, 4 sherds have been found in the burial layer associated with the early Stone to Metal Age, and more abundant distinct ceramics are found in the later Stone to Metal Age deposits, which are potentially related to earlier pottery working traditions in the Sahara and Sahel. Moreover, gene flow from the north before 8000 BP is plausible in light of a short period of Saharan Sahelian aridification. So before you got the wet, humid phase of the Sahara, the green Sahara, and a lot of scientists are pretty much saying there were back and forth migrations during that time. So you can't even lock A markers into Western Central Africa. Even they have a component that comes from the north and outside of Sub-Saharan Africa. It says, which could have contributed to population movements. Present-day groups in Northwest Africa and Sahel have substantial admixture connected to later migrations. So identifying the exact source area may require additional ancient DNA studies. And I pray we actually do get more DNA samples from ancient Africa. Anyway, West Africa. It says, although the scope of our sampling is limited to 2 individuals at either end of the Stone to Metal Age, The observed genetic similarity across the span of almost 5,000 years, a similarity that is consistent with the skeletal morphometric analysis, suggests a long-term presence of related peoples who use the rock shelter for various activities, including burying their dead. However, most populations in Cameroon today are more closely related to other West Africans than to the group represented by these individuals. Asiatic Ryan, I hope you're here. And where's the other brother? What's the other dude name?
Debunking myths.
Did you hear what that paper? Are you reading the paper? Are you reading the paper, man?
You know what that sounds like to me, Shu? Population change, population shift. Because the people, well, simply, the Shumalanka people, those who are closest related to them, aren't there in Cameroon anymore. It's really the Bantu people. So there was a shift in the population. Sounds like some people got wiped out in that area or died or something.
Yeah.
Kind of like with the Yamnaya expansion.
Right. It says here. So again, most populations in Cameroon today are more closely related to other West Africans than to the group represented by these individuals. Right? Present-day hunter-gatherers in Cameroon are also not descended substantially from this specific group, as they lack the signal of basal West African ancestry. I'm walking away from the fucking computer. Go ahead, man. I don't even know. Do I have to finish this?
You probably should.
Do I have to? It doesn't make any fucking sense, man. You niggas don't read, man. I'm done.
Yo, these dudes is in the chat. I guess their whole crew is here. It's either one person with a bunch of different accounts, but they're really playing themselves.
Well, we're doing it
Pretty
live.
Unicorn. Pretty Unicorn said, "Aha." Where is that? Pretty Unicorn said, "Aha." That E1B1A2 or E1B1C. Where is it?
That's it. Aha, it's both E1B1A2.
Yeah, it's only Wiki.
Neither.
It's only on Wiki. The data still say it's not only on Wiki. What are you talking about? Guys don't even know how to search for clades.
Also, why are we even talking about Motorman? We're dealing with these Shumalanka people. What does Motorman even have to do?
They straw manning now. They try to change the argument because their man is getting served up right now. We turning them into a hibachi meal.
Hibachi meal is my favorite.
You know what I'm saying? We quit cooking them up and turning them into a hibachi meal. So now they want to change the argument. Well, we could get to that too. My man Adam already on it. And a higher be praised. And a higher be praised. Y'all go ahead, man. It's the wrong team y'all messing with. It's the wrong team.
You want to drop the link you shoot?
Hold on, let me finish reading this, man. I just had to let that breathe. Well, what Jay-Z say, let that bitch breathe.
Yeah.
Let me read it again for the dilettante. You know what I'm saying? And this is why they don't want to debate us. This is why nobody wants to debate us, because we're going to go to the fucking information and actually read from it. Anyway, Cameroon are also not descended substantially from this specific group. Remember you said they were 100% basal African? Remember you said that? As they lack the signal of basal West African ancestry. This paper says that they average about 10%, and the many people have 4% of that. Where the hell did you get this 100% figure from? I know where you got it from. You made it up in your head when you read this fucking graph. When you looked at this pictorial, you was like, picture page ass, Bill Cosby. You picture page nigga.
Bill Cosby.
Anyway, we do observe elevated levels of allele sharing between Shumlaka individuals in present-day populations of the grassfield regions. Who are these people? Central African hunter-gatherers. So the genetic discontinuity is not absolute. Additionally, the adolescent male 2/SE2 carried an A00Y chromosome, which suggests both that the concentration of this haplogroup in Western Cameroon may have a long history, and that A00 was formerly more diverse. You can thank the Bantus for coming through sweeping shit. You understand?
That's what we went down. You know, these Pan-Africanists, these AOOs and all them running up in here. You know what I'm saying? We doing to them what we did, you know, what our forefathers did when they came into Africa.
We still cracking,
that's, smelting iron. Yeah, smelting iron and coming through and cutting them down.
Hey, you right. Our beef did come from the Levant, the Zebu. Hey, shout out
That's
to New
right.
Hope. Shout out to New Hope, man. Dropping the
That's
metaphor.
right.
Conquest of Canaan,
The boss,
conquest of
the,
Real
sub-Saharan
rap.
the boss Taurus, cattle.
New Hope hitting them with that T-Rex grown man bars. It's something you gotta deal with. So all that fabricated bullshit ain't gonna equal up to this real shit. Shout out to New Hope, man.
Talking about the pygmy booties, they probably belong to y'all, and we took them from y'all. Yeah, we was loving on them pygmy booties.
Yeah. Anyway, he said word is bond. Yeah. Shout out to my brother, man. Anyway,
Shout out to the boss Taurus.
it says, look, A00 was formerly more diverse. A lot of this, another paper said the same thing that we read, the AGVP, that most of West Africa was pretty much inundated with sun-related people at a point 10,000 years ago. And then this paper just confirms it with ancient DNA. The divergent time of A00 from other modern human haplogroups of about 300 to 200,000 BP could support its association or either with the component of the ancestry of the Shumlaka individuals that is related to Central African hunter-gatherers, or with the deep modern human portion of their West African related ancestry. Linguistics and genetic evidence points to Western Cameroon as the most likely area for the development of Bantu languages and as the ultimate source of subsequent migrations of Bantu speakers. And although the regional mid-Holocene archaeological record is sparse, Shumlaka has previously been highlighted as a site that was potentially important in the early phase of this process. However, the genetic profiles of 4 sampled individuals, even about 3,000 BP, when the spread of Bantu language and of ancestry associated with Bantu speakers were already underway, are very different from those of most speakers of the Niger-Congo languages today, which implies that these individuals are not representative of the primary source populations that were ancestral to present-day Bantu speakers. Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it. These results neither support nor contradict a central role for the grassfields area in the origins of Bantu speakers, and it may be that multiple highly differentiated populations, what does differentiated mean? It's in the name, different, formerly lived in the region with potentially either high or low levels of linguistic diversity. Would not be surprising if the Shumlaka site itself was used, either successfully or concurrently, by multiple groups with different ancestry, cultural traditions, or languages. Oh, everybody in West Africa are not the same. Haven't we been saying this for years? You guys think everybody in Africa is the same. Everybody in Sub-Saharan Africa is the same. DNA is showing you that we're differentiated. We have different lineages, diverse lineages that we come from. We may share some maternal lineages because we came down there, wrecked shop, and took you niggas bitches. That's what happened. Don't get mad at me, get mad at my ancestors. Anyway. Evidence of which may not be visible from the collection of remains as preserved today. So we need more ancient DNA data to parse this thing out. Implications for depopulation history. By analyzing data from Shumlaka and other ancient individuals in conjunction with present-day groups, we gain insights into African population structure on multiple timescales. First, we infer a series of closely sparse population splits that involve 1 West African-related lineage and 2 East African-related lineages, as well as non-Africans. Geography of the population involved suggests the center of this radiation was plausibly in East Africa. An estimated divergence of African and non-African population placed its date about 80,000 to 60,000 BP. Such an expansion is also consistent with mtDNA phylogeography, specifically the diversification of haplogroup L3, which probably originated in East Africa about 70,000 BP. Potentially with the origins of the clay CT and the Y chromosome tree at the similar time depth. Second, we infer a phase of divergence that involved at least 4 lineages early in the history of modern humans. Recent consensus has been that Southern African hunter-gatherers who split from other populations about 250 to 200,000 BP represent the deepest sample branch of modern human variation. Our results suggest that Central African hunter-gatherers split at a close to the same time, or perhaps slightly earlier, and thus that both clades as well as the lineage that would later diversify at point originate as part of a large-scale radiation. In addition to the well-characterized deep lineages, we also detect at least one deep ghost source that contributed to West Africans and East African hunter-gatherers. This signal corroborates with previous evidence for the Hassa and Sandawi and for West Africans, although we find the best fit is a source that splits near the same point as Southern and Central African hunter-gatherers. Our results are also consistent with previous reports of archaic ancestry in African populations. So there's your answer, Sword, whatever his name is, Books and Swords.
Hold on real quick before you finish, bro. I want to say something. I'm discovering something here as I read through their comments. These are WHIs.
Shout out to the
You
WHIs.
think they're WHS?
All you got to do is look, read the comments. Read them. You're all
That's what I was
mutts.
saying. I was wondering if they're conscious
You're all
community
mutts.
or if they're,
Them bitches your mother. Your mother is a bitch. What else he says? Pretty unicorn. Uh, your mother's a pig. Your mother's are pygmies. She made you look how you look. She made you look how you look.
Oh, okay,
What
yeah,
else?
that's probably not conscious.
Yeah, these are.
I was
Yeah,
wondering.
they just expose themselves.
Yeah, I was. It
It's all
was.
good.
I knew it'd be one of the two, either conscious community or like
Nah, it's not the country.
European.
They coming in with names trying to confuse us. But see, your rhetoric was showing your racism comes out. Now he called him as swore the book, called us a pygmy. You sound like booty bandits, bunch of fleece Johnsons talking
Dang,
about
he's
the
saying
booty
are
bandit.
these comments being
Yeah.
deleted? Because I don't see them.
Nah, don't delete them. Whoever, please don't delete anything.
Yeah, I don't see
I'm
them.
starting to see who send. I think these are the people who are sending the bots in on us.
Mm.
These are the bot monsters. They've been watching and lurking all this time. They finally came out because we gaining traction. They think that after Kanye, I guess after the Kanye and Kyrie situation, they all on guard now. They it's all out war.
Well, I have nothing to do with Kanye, so
Exactly. But it's all good. They getting a lesson today. I'm sorry, go ahead, bro. I just wanted to put that out there.
Keep going. Keep going.
Let's see. Swatter book,
yeah, where are the
WHI.
comments? I haven't been looking at the comments because I'm doing
D-
something else.
WHI, White Hebrew Israelites, question mark. Don't worry about what that is. You figure it out. That's what whoever it is you, because now you turning real racist right now. Because if you guys were Pan Africanists, you
Yeah, they
wouldn't be
wouldn't be
talking
talking like
about
this.
pygmy women like this. They wouldn't.
They love
They wouldn't be talking.
pygmies. the,
It's not
the
even
Pan
that, bro. I
African.
won't even. Yeah, not nah. I wouldn't even say that. They wouldn't be talking about pygmies because they understand because our forefathers made it with these
Yeah,
pygmies
I
too.
know.
Well,
I was just messing
we,
with.
yeah, our forefathers was with them too.
Well,
So these
not
pygmy
not
women, they
mine,
wouldn't be
but
talking and saying these things about them. So we know who you are now. It's all good. Now we exposed you. The truth. See what happens to the truth? The truth bring the demon out of you mugs.
are you
All
gonna
you
drop the
mugs.
link for these people? Genesis.
They ain't coming up. He could drop it for them.
What's this movie?
The 5 heartbeats.
Let me see.
Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall.
That's him in the comments.
Hey, Adam, Adam, Adam just made a good point. Adam just made a good point. He said, my guess is Horn African supremacists. Yeah, because the
That
Horners
that
be
the
acting crazy
Somalis
too.
don't like us either.
Yeah, so
Well, some Somalis. I wouldn't say all, but
yeah,
Oh man,
Somalis definitely got beef.
somebody
it's
hurt.
all good. Yeah, they hurt. Their feelings are hurt bad, but it's all good.
Drop the link. Let's see how brave they are. Let's see if they talk that mess.
No, I gotta remind them. I gotta remind them what they do.
Wait, what?
You got another one.
Check it Look, remember? Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall.
Bruh. Oh, man.
That's Ivory. Ivory trying to console. Ivory trying to console him.
Oh man, you can't make this.
Bro.
Damn, yo, he having a Hey Adam, I think you're right. The emphasis of African pastoralists makes me think Horn of Africa supremacists. It's one of the supremacists, bro. It's what they usually do. You know, when they when the information
Look, he said you mofos are partly subhumans. Yeah, this
That
definitely is
boy
not a
ain't gonna
pan.
stop. He's still going.
Yeah, this definitely
yeah,
is not a
Hold on.
pan-Africanist.
Let me
no,
go.
it's not Pan African.
Let
It's
me
either
go.
a Horner, or
WHO.
yeah.
Look, remember? Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall.
Look at Ivory hugging him like.
Nah, bro. Tonight I'm not helping nobody. I ain't helping them tonight. Not tonight, bro.
Ah,
If they caught me on a good mood, I'll be nice. But I ain't nice right now.
They in the chat. Ah.
It's funny because we debunked what they said with the paper. All they got now is to call us monkeys.
ad hominems. Yeah, nothing but ad hominems now.
That's all they got. No paper to refute what we said. So now they're just crying like a baby.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. All y'all, all the thoughts that y'all had about West Africans is getting pushed back into your face now. You know, this is definitely not Pan Africanist. It's either WHIs or Horners. You know what I'm saying? Some Arabs. You know how y'all get down over on that side. Somalis. It's all good. All this is getting pushed back in your face. You know, you got the right ones.
Mhm.
The real question is, why do they want us so desperately to be landlocked within sub-Saharan Africa, or for us to be African hunter-gatherers, or for us to be pygmies? Like, why do they want this so bad?
They
I
scared. They
there's
scared, bro. They want us to be landlocked somewhere where they could control us.
You can't even landlock the A markers. You can't even landlock the B markers. They've
Exactly.
been found outside of sub-Saharan Africa too.
that's
Right.
Just read they got a component that come from the north.
Yeah. Adam just brought that up. I think he said there was one 8,000 years. Adam, what was that again? Drop the link. Let Adam come up here.
Let them all come up here. Let's
Yeah.
see, let's see how brave they really are.
Nah, you ain't got to finish reading this for these dudes. We already bust their ass. Look how they acting in the chat. It's done. We ain't got to go no further, bro.
It's funny. He said, "Pygmies are your mothers." My mom's empty DNA isn't even pygmy. Neither is Sean's, and I don't think Yeshub's is either. My mom's empty DNA is
Don't
has her
even tell
founder
him, bro.
effect.
You ain't got to go there, bro. You ain't got to do all that. These dudes, we
No,
just
I'm
shut
not
them
going to tell
down.
them my mom's haplogroup, but I'll tell the founder effect was in the Balkans. It was in the Greek area.
My mother's haplogroup is L3, man. That's not pygmy.
Mm-hmm. Pygmy is L1, isn't it?
I think it's L1C2 something.
Yeah.
I have to look it up.
It's in the L1. It's in the L1 group.
I won't say which specific one, but it was in the Balkans, Mediterranean area.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Not no
Look, they
picnic.
still look. They still doing it. Look at them crying and
Daniel Jensen got
hey
it
Eddie,
figured out.
Eddie Kane,
Is he a Christian?
He said, "Hey, Eddie Kane."
Eddie Kane. What's wrong, Eddie Kane? More wants the link.
You're all archaic. You're archaic, Sean.
Yeah, I know. It's all good.
This
I'm
is
okay.
them. This is them. Shout out to my brother, man. Shout out to Real Ruger.
More wants the link, by the way.
I'm gonna get to him, man. Hold on.
He can't help it. He can't even see right now. His eyes is all watered up and tearing up.
Oh no, not another one.
The Joker. They broke the body.
Oh, the Joker. I like this one. This is a good scene.
So, Ed, that's 500.
How about a lie?
Look at these scars. My father was a drinker and a fiend. And one night, he goes off crazier than usual. Mommy gets the kitchen knife to defend herself. He doesn't like that. Not one bit. So, me watching, he takes the knife to her, laughing while he does it. He turns to me and he says, "Why so serious?" He comes at me with the knife. "Why so serious?" He sticks the blade in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face.
Yo, fair use, fair use.
Yeah.
Fair use.
You don't have to do it.
Fair
It's
use.
clip. It's a 2-minute clip. You have to do it.
That shit is long.
Why so? It's 2 minutes. He just reminded me of that scene. Why they so serious in the chat?
That's a good movie too.
Their feelings is hurt, bro. Isn't your mother married to a white man? Listen, you're not gonna pull us into this racial nonsense. Y'all, all of y'all.
No.
So, A, B, D, and E are archaic. Yeah, go talk to the geneticists about that, you idiot.
None of our fathers are white men.
Them boys crying, man.
Yeah, whatever, man. These dudes don't know where we cut our teeth at. With a bunch of racists on Clubhouse going into their rooms and destroying them.
Look, remember? Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall.
You should roll that emotional damage. Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Oh, their feelings
they
is so
in the chat like
hurt.
a girl from the Matrix talking about not like this. Not like this.
Oh yeah.
No, he thought he had a.
By the way, if you have anything terribly important to say to Switch, I suggest you say it now.
Oh no, please don't. Not like this. Not like this.
Too late.
Bruh.
Listen.
Hey, but y'all should be happy because at least it's people that look like you who give you the information, bro. It could be worse. It could be people who don't look like you telling you this truth right now. You know what I'm saying? Then you really hurt, bro.
Exactly. You know, just like we getting our share from our own dishing out the truth on them. So I get it. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Y'all not even upset me with this. These dudes is funny as hell, yo. And yo, he was in the comment section hard on the other video in the comment section going hard, telling us about what we read and what we didn't read, and we lying. This dude can't even comprehend a paper, but you from a
Supreme
more
race.
supreme race of people. You can't even comprehend. You're an idiot. That's what you are. You can't even read. You can't even comprehend a simple fact. You don't even know how to, next time you read one of these papers, I'm gonna give you some advice. Open up another tab, right, to Google and keep it on deck. And as you're reading through these papers, every time you run into a word that you don't understand, which will probably be every 3 or 4 words, you'll run into a word you can't understand. Hit the other tab and go to the dictionary.
What the hell you say?
You know what I'm saying? And learn how to study. Supreme. You dudes ain't supreme.
Yo, shalom.
Idiots. Who's this?
Wait, what's that comment say? Hold on. What's that?
That's rude.
I can't hate.
That's rude?
all-
Rabbi Lewis.
Yo, shalom.
Oh, rude was
Shabbat,
it?
Shabbat.
Oh no.
Rabbi Lewis, have you taken a DNA test?
Hey, brother, can I send you a free copy? One of my best sellers. We can do a book review.
You should be
What?
just yourself, bro.
Wait, what?
Listen, Rabbi Lewis, listen to what I'm saying. I will review your book on my channel if you take a DNA test and analyze your DNA live via 23andMe on my channel.
Okay. Interesting. How you guys Shabbat? How was Shabbat?
No. We're not moving. Shabbat shalom, by the way. But anyway, back to what I just said. I will do a review of your book on my channel if you take your DNA on 23andMe and we go live and analyze what your DNA test kit says.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, can I send you the free copy right now? Because I'm on my laptop. It's just about the books about how Paul and the Israelites were black, Muhammad and Israelites were black.
All right. Send the book to me, but I won't review it until you take a DNA test with 23andMe and we go live and talk about and discuss the results.
Oh, okay.
All right. Deal?
All right, deal.
All right. So I'm waiting on you to take that test, brother.
Okay. Interesting. Well, do you guys believe the Israelites were black?
You know what? Do me a favor. Yeah,
What the hell you say?
please send him back down. Please send the brother back down.
No. Y'all
Enjoy your
deal with
Shabbat.
it.
No, I ain't dealing with that. Somebody send him back down. I'm not dealing.
Emotional, damn it.
Bruh.
Yeah, I'm not dealing with that. Send him back to the comment section, please.
Is there anyone out there who still isn't clear about what doing drugs does? Okay, last time. This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Listen, we're not going to do any excerpts from your books with you asking us questions to beta test your book. We're not doing it. We answered that question too many times. Somebody send him back down, please. I'm not dealing with that.
Uncle Ruckus, no relation. I want to sing y'all a brand new song I just wrote called Don't Trust Them New Niggas Over There. Sing along if you know the words. Don't trust them new niggas over there, leaving they nigga essence in the air. Them happy, nappy head niggas with the fingers on the trigger. Don't trust them new niggas over there. Don't trust them big nostrils over yonder. They suck up so much air it'll make you wonder. Don't trust them new niggas with their spotty little nigga figures. Don't trust them new niggas over there.
Bruh.
We got Captain Small Hat in the building. Why you make yourself that, bro?
Why
that's
not?
rude. That's rude.
It's a bulking bully.
Man,
What's good, bro?
This Captain Small Hat tonight, bro.
I'm thinking of somebody that we don't know. Like, who is this guy? Oh,
You know, when I get them super Shabbat powers, I come out as Captain Small Hat.
Oh man. You sure you're not Captain Base West Africa? That's what them brothers said we are.
I was about to say what
No,
happened.
man, they say we're archaic humans. We're not even.
Yeah, we're subhuman.
We're not even home safe.
That's definitely a secular Jewish argument or a Horner argument, an Arab argument. When it comes to us, that ain't no Pan Africanist.
No, that's not
conscious.
community.
That's not conscious community.
They love their Africans. They love them pygmies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with pygmies, but I'm just not a pygmy.
Yeah, shout out to 93.
Shout out to 93.
Who just joined us?
That's Adam.
Hey guys.
Oh, Adam, what's good,
Hey,
bro?
come on,
How you
Adam.
doing, man?
Yeah, me scared
Good,
like
man.
it
How
was
are you?
Hello, madam. How's everything going, brother?
Yeah, just doing well. Cold, but doing well.
All right, cool. You see the foolishness we go through. This remind you of our clubhouse days, don't it?
Yeah, I mean that guy. He's going on about. He was talking about R1B, and now he's talking about half of African Americans being his sons. He might be just a good old R1B white supremacist, from down south or something.
Yeah, could be.
It's hard to say. It's all over the place.
Well, we definitely know he's not a Pan Africanist or part of the conscious community. We know that. Mm-hmm. So what's going on? Oh, you that new paper you was talking about, the December 3rd paper that just came out.
Yeah. I
How'd you
just
like
took
that
it.
read?
It was interesting. Yeah, they weren't. It was probably the most exciting thing about it is it's demonstrating that soft skin tissue and like really degraded hair samples can they're able to get a lot of DNA information out of them now. So it's looking promising for African and subcontinent like India research. Because if they just partial samples, that I think they're going to be able to get a lot of info out of it now, which is good. Because there's so many gaps in the research right now for Africa and for India in particular. So hopefully they just spend their money and focus on that stuff.
It turns out you're right, Adam. I think they are just a typical white supremacist. They said, I'm R1B, your oppressor who dragged you here.
Yeah, he's just a good old boy Klansman type. Yeah.
Man, we were all wrong. We were thinking it was a particular group of people. WHI and Somalis and all that.
Yeah, so they were able to get a hair sample in this new paper, 4,000-year-old Middle Nile sample.
Oh,
they weren't able to get like a haplogroup or anything like that, but they were able to do autosomal DNA. So that's kind of the bulk of it.
Yeah, I saw that paper on Twitter. I didn't get a chance to fully read it, but was it basically just East African?
I'm pulling it up now. Yeah, I'm trying to find it now.
The conclusion was that it was basically just East African, right? Like East African.
Yeah, so it's a North Sudan sample, and they just kind of connected it to did a PC on it, and it's closely related to kind of East African populations, right? Like Kenya, both like Neolithic Kenya and like Iron Age, and early pastoral Kenya. it's fairly close to somewhat close to some of the like I think the Natufian samples, if I'm not mistaken.
That would make sense because a lot of East Africans have Natufian DNA.
Yeah, it's sort of in between kind of ancient Levant and East Africa populations, kind of in between, which makes sense kind of based on its geographic location.
The middle now, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't find the paper. You have it on deck? You want to share it?
Yeah, let me I threw it in the chat there a couple times, but let me
Oh, you
see if I
did?
can.
Hold on, let me go back to that then.
I think I can do it in the studio here.
Okay.
Yeah, here you go. I put it in the studio chat. Oh.
Ah, yes, I got it. Cool. Y'all want to look at it, or y'all want to just read it another time?
It's up to y'all. I had already scanned
Bring
through it.
it out. Bring it out, sir. I'm
right.
doing something in the backdrop, so y'all keep the show going. Oh, Sean left when I asked him to do some work.
I'll say I run from work. No.
He says Nathaniel Jensen is the truth.
Some of it's like just super technical about the processes that they did. Like some of that you could probably skip over. But there is some meat, you know, in the conclusions and comparing to previous studies. Also, like, you know, they did talk about pastoralism and
East African
and dental records and these sort of things.
The paper was all right. The only issue I had with it was that it didn't talk about haplogroups. Like we don't know what their haplogroup was, and as you know, that's what we deal with the most. It was a good paper, but I just wish it had a haplogroup.
Yeah, I'm not sure they were able to capture it. I couldn't find anything in the supplementary information either.
No, you can't get a haplogroup from a hair sample. That would be, you have to have I think the petrous bone or something.
Right.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up that paper real quick, the up to date, because I thought about showing. Oh, here goes Sean right here.
It's either going to be.
I got it on deck.
Yeah, go into it real quick. I'm looking for something right now. Keep the show going, y'all. If you pulled it up, I'll share your screen. Because a lot, what he said something earlier about Multiman being E1B1, and that's when it was first published. I think in 2014.
I'm sharing, bro.
All right.
This is it.
That's the one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Hold on. Abstract. Petrous bones and teeth are the skeletal elements most often targeted by researchers from ancient DNA extraction, and the source of the majority of the previously published ancient African genomes. However, the high temperature environments that characterize much of Africa often lead to poor preservation of skeletal remains. Here we successfully reconstructed and analyzed genome-wide data from the naturally mummified hair of a 4,000-year-old individual from Sudan in northeastern Africa. After the failed attempts at DNA extraction from teeth, petrous, and cranium of of this and other individuals from the Kadruka cemeteries, we find that the hair DNA extract with an established single-stranded library protocol is unusually enriched in ultra-short DNA molecules and exhibits substantial interior molecular damage. The aDNA was nonetheless amenable to genetic analysis, which revealed that the genome is genetically indistinguishable from that of early Neolithic Eastern African pastoralists located 2,500 kilometers away. Our findings are consistent with the established models for the southward dispersal of Middle Nile Valley pastoral populations to the Rift Valley of Eastern Africa and provide a possible genetic source population for this dispersal. Our study highlights our study highlights the value of mummified hair as an alternate source of aDNA from regions with poor preservation. Okay. Introduction. The first complete ancient human mitochondrial genome published in 2008 was generated from the frozen hair of an individual of the Sakak archaeological culture from Greenland, dated at 4,750 years ago. Since then, the field of ancient DNA, aDNA, research has grown rapidly, with over 6,000 ancient genomes published to date. This extraordinary growth has largely been based on the analysis of ancient human bones and teeth with their preservation widely regarded as superior to that of that of soft tissue and hair. Meanwhile, very few studies have attempted to extract ancient DNA, from hair of soft tissue, especially from samples of significant age. While only accounting for 1.7% of all published genomes, Africa is no exception to this trend. So far, ancient DNA studies focused on Africa have reported nearly 100 ancient whole genomes reconstructed from ancient DNA preserved in petrous bones and teeth from sub-Saharan Africa. Over half of these studies focus on the understanding that the spread of pastoralism in ancient Eastern Africa, in particular, drawing on samples from present-day Kenya and Tanzania. Ancient DNA studies have revealed multiple waves of human migration associated with the spread of pastoralism and complex sequences admixture events with local hunter-gatherers in Eastern Africa. Although there is broad consensus that early pastoralists in Eastern Africa originated from population dispersals from from the north, from regions such as Sudan and Ethiopia. No ancient DNA data related to early pastoralists from these regions has yet been published. Here we extract DNA from 5 specimens, including petrous teeth and hair, deriving from 4 individuals from Middle Holocene cemeteries in the Dongla reach of Upper Nubia, northern Sudan. Selected samples from this study represent 3 individuals from the early 7th millennium BP Neolithic site, BP before present, for people who don't know that, the site of Kajuka 21, and one Kerma period individual, directly dated to the 4033 Cal before present, from Kajuka 1. Of all the tissues and samples tested, only one sample of preserved hair from the Kerma period individual yielded a sufficient amount of authentic ancient human DNA to study. We argue that a critical prerequisite in the extraction was the first application of a state of the art single strand library laboratory protocol on hair material, which is able to turn single strand DNA molecules into a sequencing library. As we show in our analysis, sequence sequence data generated from hair ancient DNA using the single strand library protocol features unique characteristics that pose challenges in downstream genetic analysis. Our population genetic analysis of this hair sample from northern Sudan reveals a close genetic affinity of the Kerma period individual to early pastoralists from the Rift Valley in Eastern Africa. Drawing on this evidence, as well as previously published proteomic evidence, of dietary proteins extracted from the dental calculus, excuse me, from the dental calculus of the individual, we conclude that our sample, Sudan Kadruka 1, 4,000 years before present, represent one of the earliest and most northernly ancient pastoralist populations to have been genetically characterized in Africa today, as well as potentially a genetic source population for one of the earliest prehistoric pastoralist dispersal into Eastern Africa. Y'all want to go to the results? You want to read the whole thing? How many pages is this?
No, don't read the whole thing, man.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, we'll
but
look at it.
that's good. Yeah, we can dig into this. But I mean, it helps to, like they said, that just being able to add to the already wide the wide genome that they already have, being able to just add this to the bank, to the data bank. I guess this is good stuff. But like you said, they're not showing any. Let me see if I find. Did you read this whole thing, Adam? Is there any samples? Any aDNA? Excuse me. Any Y-DNA?
No Y or mtDNA. It's only they did break down like autosomal and like its relation on a PCA chart to other population groups. That's
okay.
That's the most relevant stuff, I guess.
Okay, all right, cool. We'll dig into this.
Click the link, Pretty Unicorn, and who's the other one? Sword of Books. Wait, no, Sword and Book. Click the link.
And they ain't clicking no links, sure. They just trolls. Reading to debunk instead of reading to learn.
No, I just want to show everybody. I just want to show everybody that they're cowards, that they won't click the link. That's all.
I think Pretty Unicorn just admitted that he's inbred.
But yeah, so was there anything else you was going to cover tonight, Yeshub, or was it just the ancient West African foragers paper?
Yeah, I was gonna cover Remy Iona, but I wanted to deal with that first, so I'll push that video back. And
okay.
So, any thoughts on ancient West Basal West Africans? Because you're 100% Basal West African according to Debunk Myths.
Debunk Myths just got debunked.
Exactly.
But yeah, it seems like according to the actual science in the paper, Niger, Congo, and Bantu peoples are not similar to the Shumalanka remains in the sense that we don't directly descend from them. The Shumalanka remains seem to be around 30% West African hunter-gatherer, which is pygmy, with the rest being 60% basal West African. And turns out that Niger Congo and Bantu peoples carry around 10 to 2% of basal West African, whereas again the Shumalanka remains carry only 64% of basal West African. And also the Shumalanka remains carried haplogroup A and B, as well as mitochondrial DNA, L0 and L1C, I believe, which none of us carry on the panel. We neither carry the Y-DNA or the mtDNA of the Shumalanka remains. So, yeah, they seem to be a separate population according to the paper, a separate population to modern Niger Congo and Bantu peoples, but very similar to pygmy peoples, foragers, hunter-gatherers, people like that. So they are indeed Paleo-Africans. And within our model, they would be Hamites.
Yeah. Hey, Pretty Unicorn, it's not about how fast or slow you read. It's about if you can retain the information, if you could comprehend the information. See, your problem is you read through that too fast. You read through that study so fast, thinking that you're smart, and you ain't understand a lick of what you read. So go sit down somewhere.
Yeah, those people are only here to troll and be racist. And I've already done my job. So.
100%.
Anybody else want to talk about archaic Africans as they relate to modern Western Africans, the Sri Lankan individuals, which are A00, B2B, and B? Anybody can talk
I
about it.
think we covered, yeah, I think we covered everything. You know, it's just a matter of being able to read the studies and understanding who they're talking about when they're landlocking people into sub-Saharan Africa. Usually when they talk about, like was shown in the paper, when they're talking about basal West Africans, they're not talking about e-carriers. They're talking about the people that they mixed with. So there was one paper I was reading, it was pretty old. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was from like 2010 or somewhere around there, 2011. And it was making the argument that the Igbo people were basically, they originated in their Igbo homeland, and they were comparing the pygmy DNA, and they was running down all of the percentages of the hunter gatherers amongst the pygmy, but they wasn't using the word pygmy. They was just running down, and it was calling it basal West African, or West African. Actually, they didn't even use the word basal in this particular study. They just said West African, and said that the Igbo, even though they was haplogroup E, and they showed their haplogroup, uh, was it E1B1A1, E1B1A7, and the other long one. And then they went on to continue to say that, the hunter gatherer and the indigenous West Africans would go back to like 38,000 years or somewhere around there, 37,000 years. And so the Igbo were actually, they had no Levantine. They never left the area. They were indigenous to that land. But what they were talking about was the women were indigenous, not the E carriers, because you can't find E in West Africa over 3,500 years old. So I would to give a larger estimate between 3 to 4,000 years is what I would posit. So be careful when you're reading these studies. Understand, what you're reading. The more you read, the better it gets. You get to understand the verbiage, and you understand what each individual geneticist is trying to get across on his paper or in his study, and you'll fare well. That's it. There you go.
But a lot of times I found it. Here it is here. So in the supplemental, I'm going to share my screen here. A lot of times the paper itself explains itself very clearly. It's just you don't read it. They're not reading it. There's no way you read it. They looked at the graph and then made an assumption off of the pictorial and left it at that. Skimmers, man. They don't care about the understanding or grasping the understanding of this stuff. So here's a updated chart of haplogroups. And as you can see, E1B1A2 is the haplogroup of the Mota individual, as you can see here, Mota cave. So they updated that.
Also, it was in
Hey,
Ethiopia.
Pretty Unicorn and everybody else in the chat, your whole clique, pay attention. This is how you really research and find haplogroups. All right, stop stop wiki and everything.
Yeah,
All
y'all
right.
much on Wikipedia, man.
Yeah, this is how you do it.
Also, Motorman was in East Africa of Ethiopia, not West Africa, because I feel like they were almost trying to make it seem like he was in West Africa, but Motorman was in East Africa. He was
Right.
in Ethiopia.
We actually have ancient E1B1A in East Africa. We don't have it in Sub-Saharan Western Central Africa. Now you can see Motorman and the paper that it's related to right here. I forget how to say this guy's name. Lorente. 2020. When was this discovered? 20 what? Let's see if I can open that up. Oh, it went away. But anyway, whenever the initial study, I think it was 2014 or 2015 when they came out with this. And it was like Ethiopian genome reveals Eurasian introgression or something like that.
Yeah.
And within that paper, at the onset, they said it was E1B1. But this is a more up-to-date paper, and they were able to get a higher resolution on the Y chromosome, and it's actually E1B1A2.
Which is specifically, my bad, go ahead.
I was about to say that's why you have to constantly update your scholarship. Go ahead.
And that specific E1B1A marker, which again is E1B1A2, is specifically related to the Omotic people known as the Eri. They're a very specific Ethiopian ethnic group. So it's not even like Yoruba or Igbo or Luya people carry this particular E1B1A. It's its own thing. It's a sister branch.
Yeah, 2015 right here. Right, yes, it's its own sister brand of E1B1A, but that shows that E1B1A has never been constricted to just one locality, as people will have you believe. It's not true.
Oh, I have to make a quick caveat to what I was saying earlier. So, the samples that I'm talking about with the Igbo people were ancient samples, the samples of E-carriers that they found in Igbo land. I think the samples was old as I want to say like 2,500 years or so, found in Igbo land. And yeah, so basically I want to make that caveat. I don't want anybody to think with this high percentage of hunter gatherer and pygmy DNA that I quoted is something recent. It's from old samples that they found, ancient samples. With you.
All right, so before we get out of here, I did plan on reading this. He also made another statement about you guys are direct descendants of archaic humans or something like that. No, that's not what that shows. You do understand, we were talking about this last night, the misrepresentation of ghost populations, right? So let me go here, but I also want to go read from a genetic book real quick. First, let me just address that real quick. So that's just like, and this is the same thing that people were saying about Western Europeans. Oh, they're descendants of Neanderthals. This paper says that. No, that's not what the paper is saying. It's not saying that they're descendants from Neanderthals. If you read the papers on that, it's talking about Homo sapiens sapiens, once they left Africa and left the Near East and went towards Europe, they mixed with Neanderthals. That's what it's saying. And that's why they have small traces of Neanderthal DNA, which Yoruba people have it too. West African people have it too. Well, they have Neanderthal ancestry. That's not saying they descend directly from a Neanderthal. All right. So anyway, let's go to this paper. So many people quote this paper, right? Ghost DNA found in some West African people, and they use this paper to say, oh well, these people are these archaic people. But watch this. It says a team of researchers at the University of California has found evidence of ghost DNA in some modern West African people in their paper published in journal Science Advances. The group describes their study of genetic samples collected from the Yoruba and Mende groups and what they found. Prior to research has shown that approximately 800,000 years ago, two groups of hominids diverged from a common ancestor. They became known as Denisovians and Neanderthals. In this new effort, the researchers have found evidence to suggest a prior group split off from the same common ancestor 200,000 years earlier. The researchers were studying the lineage of Yoruba of southwestern Nigeria and the Mende people of Sierra Leone. The researchers found some non-modern human DNA in the samples. That led to them to compare the non-human segments of Denisovian and Neanderthal DNA. When they found no match, the researchers were forced to conclude that the DNA was from a common ancestor that diverged over 1 million years ago. Since no fossils of this other ancestor have been found, the researchers dubbed their genetic remnants ghost DNA. Further study of the gene snippets showed that they were introduced into modern human genome approximately 24,000 years ago. The researchers also found that the percentage of the ghost DNA in Yoruba and Mende people ranged to 2 to 19%. And those genes were of a type that would have been involved in suppressing tumors and regulating hormones. Due to the percentage found in modern humans, it appears likely that they spread quickly, which indicates widespread interbreeding with West African people for a short time. And what is that telling you? That these people interbreeded with Homo sapiens sapiens or whatever this archaic or whatever you want to label this ghost population, right? We just know it's very, very, very old. Not saying the West African people themselves are the archaic humans, right? It says the team also found evidence of the same DNA in a few people of Han Chinese. So are you going to say the Han Chinese are archaic humans? No, they're Homo sapiens sapiens. They're not archaic humans. Archaic hominids. So the team also found evidence of the same DNA in a few people of Han Chinese descent living in Beijing and some Westerners living in the U.S. But those cases have not yet been studied more closely. The researchers plan to continue their study of the ghost genes, hoping to learn more about their role in the genome, why they persisted so well in West African people for such a long period of time. Learn to read and comprehend.
Can I get that butterflies in the sky? I can go twice as high. Let me get some of that.
Oh man.
Oh, you gotta search for that one, huh? You ain't had you.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Right. Pretty Unicorn is biblical DNA. I already know who he is.
I was saying, bro, this got to be Dan.
We read the paper and it says the same thing. Admixture. Not saying they descended from. Same, like I said, same argument people used to make. Hold on, watch this. Let me type in a zinger. So let's say Europeans descend from Neanderthal. This is the same shit they were saying about the Europeans.
Oceanic people aren't humans. That one's definitely a zinger.
That's another one.
And you know, Danoy did bring that up the last time he was live on here.
That's got to be Danoy, bro.
Or he asked. Remember the last time he came up and we was real cordial with him when we had a brief discussion. He showed us his uncle's picture.
Yeah.
And you know, we was going through it.
There's
with him.
debunked mix.
Yeah,
mix,
it's they all the same damn person.
Popped up as soon as I blocked Pretty Unicorn.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
It's the same person.
Yeah, same person.
You freaking.
So more than likely is Danoy, because Danoy did ask us. He said, "What do you think about the ghost population?"
Yeah, him and Yitzhak were talking about that a lot.
He sounded like he about to tell us to stop breathing the white man's air. Are y'all getting that same vibe?
Yeah, basically.
Basically, we should be dead.
Shout out to my brother Debunk Myths, man. That's all it's about, brother. Clarification, man. We not your enemy, man. We here to.
Oh, now it's made some decent points. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, let me go to what he just brought out. I remember when this came out, and everybody was saying, "See, this proves the Nephilim are real." Because they read this, they read titles like this, man. And there was one saying it was alien. It was like terrible, bro. It comes from a lack of comprehension of the material.
A lot of these people just got hate in their heart too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you know, BHIs love time. You know, BHIs like Black Jesus. White people are Neanderthals. No, they're not. They're not Neanderthals.
I didn't mean no disrespect, Debunk Myths. Look at he got offended.
No, he's talking about Danoy.
No, it is Danoy. He's trying to throw us off.
No,
no, I don't think that's Danoy. But he's saying Danoy is
yeah, whatever. I don't trust anybody.
Balls ain't never dropped. He said, I don't trust nobody. But anyway, people will bring. I can't find the one where it said it was alien. I can't find the one that it was one that said they were aliens and all types of stuff. It's like, oh my God, these are human beings. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, right, Kedrick.
Title readers. Yeah.
What happened is these dudes read with their emotions on their sleeve, man. Just trying to debunk,
Shout
just
out to the
trying to
bunk.
like.
You want to drop the link for debunked myths? You should.
Shout out to the myths, man, because that you know, we humans, bro, we're fallible. We're gonna make mistakes. I done made plenty of mistakes. Y'all have seen my, BHI 12 tribes chart history all the way up to where I'm at now. So we're omniscient. We're gonna make mistakes, but the point is they try to learn and get better at reading and comprehending these things and grasping and understanding of the material. That's all. Ain't nobody punching down on here. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're right.
I am. I'm punching down on his ass. Him and his whole clique. Him and his whole clique. Pretty Unicorn and who else was in there?
I'm not
Asiatic.
putting them in, listen, brother, I'm not putting them in that category. Let's not do that, man. Fire on people that need to be fired on, brother. Son.
Right.
I thought I was
feeling like you tonight, yo. Yeah, I'm feeling I ain't been getting no proper sleep either. Messing with y'all every night. I'm on
So
edge.
Shawn Michaels tonight. I think that's the one, right? That's the
Shawn Michaels, bro.
I'm about to pop off.
Oh man!
Did you want to
Shawn
drop
Michaels
the
clip
link
for the
for?
OG, you know what I'm saying?
What'd you say more?
You need a Shawn Michaels clip for the OG, you know what I'm saying, where he's getting his flex on.
Get a montage of it, huh?
That's it. My brothers is giving you a pass, debunk myth. If it wasn't for them, I shut your ass down every time I see your every time I see your logo, every time I see your shit.
Yeah,
So
OG
I gotta
on your
roll with my
bumper, all right?
brothers. I gotta roll with my brothers. My brothers giving you a pass, so I'm gonna give you a pass. So I'm usually the voice of reason. You got me pissed off. You and your whole clique.
This brother going in, man. That's that Bantu in you, man. You're just aggressive as hell.
That's that EU 290 iron smelting DNA popping off right now.
You sound like a whole expansionist in this piece, all right?
Listen, I'm yam. Mess with me, I start yelling Yam Naya out this joint and start cutting everybody down.
Hey, but Daniel, he hurt. That boy hurt, man. For him to go to that extent, man, you add humming hard, man. This is you, bro.
That full.
Check it out. Dang. Look, remember? Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Eddie.
That scene is so damn sad.
That's Avery again trying to console.
No, not tonight.
Yeah, your shoe got me hurt over that one, bro. That would hurt right there, bro.
Not tonight.
Hey, yo, that was my Uncle Gator trying to get some wine money back in the days, man. Why you doing that to me, man? You bring about bad memories, man.
This Shawn Michael is on fire tonight, man. Hold on, I got you, bro.
Yap Naya.
Yep, nine in the building.
But Sean, what else you got to say about archaic populations and the genes of basal West Africans and hunter gatherers and present day West Africans?
I think we already, solidified that. Who is it? Debunk Breath. We got him to turn the corner. We got him to bend the corner. So I think we said everything we need to say. You got something to say on that, bro?
Yeah, my
I know you
concern
got a
is this, bro.
meme or something.
Like obviously, you know what I'm saying. We've only been isolated to West Africa, etc. To the point where we're not even in America. This is a whole myth, right? This is like a whole simulation right now. We're not even in America right now, family. We're actually broadcasting this from West Africa, from an archaic time. Like we're literally back in time right now, family. Just understand that. You know what I'm saying? We're broadcasting from Stone Age time periods and whatnot. So just understand that.
Right, because we can't migrate at all.
Nope. We are stuck, bro. We don't even got feet. We can't even move, bro. Our feet are stuck in West Africa, bro. Like we were born with our feet in the ground. Know that.
Damn, we flora.
Lord of the Rings.
We're plant life. Hey, Ivory. Sean, this is you all night, man.
My G. I knew he was gonna come through. Right? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yap Naya.
Perfect.
Shawn Michaels got to be Yap Naya.
You win. Perfect.
I was putting his foot up in people's ass today, man. God damn. I was scared
Shawn
for y'all.
Yo, Shawn Michaels got to be Yap Naya, yo.
Who's snoring, man? Who's snoring on my joint, man?
Yeah, I heard that too. I was about to say somebody asleep.
That's Avery trying to front like he wasn't just on mute.
No.
Yeah, right. He be taking them little cat naps, and he already told us too.
That boy.
No, not tonight. I was on this tonight with this whole debunk myth situation.
All right, so
he was awake. He wasn't even playing video games in the background. He was just paying attention this time.
No, I was still playing games.
He's like, no, I was still gaming. I don't get it twisted, bro. I was taking him that serious, bro.
Both of these niggas was fired up early. I was like, bro, hold on, man. Let me read the
Oh, they was like them dudes in the movie The Crow. Fire it up. Fire it up. Fire it up.
I was trying to read the man's statements and read where he was cutting himself before I could even get to that point. Avery was like, no, I got to do that. No, let me put myself there. And then Sean was like, let me kick the nigga in the face. I'm like, hold on, man. Chill out.
Oh, man. You know we always go for a fight.
Because he was addressing me in that comment section. He had time stamped when I was talking. And I was like, hold up now. I know you're not coming for me. And so,
nah, but he was going hard. He was going hard in the paint in the comments, yo. Like he knew what he was talking about. But it is, you know what I'm saying, y'all forgave him tonight, so go let it pass. Go let it pass. Look. Now they changed up Pan-African, reporting deep from Shumlaka caves. Look, Pan-African.
well, I don't see the comment.
You ever see the comment?
No.
Somebody got rid of it.
Oh,
Stop.
hold on. I'm an admin, so I can look at it. Let me just take a look.
Yeah. Pan-African, reporting deep from the Shumlanka's caves. I'm telling you,
No,
that's your man. That's your man, Danoy.
Danoy, you a picture page nigga too, man.
Watch him get mad, make a video on us too.
You the picture page nigga, man. You don't read this stuff, bro. We already exposed you on that. I don't even know why you trying to clap, G. I don't even know why you trying to clap, bro. You don't read this information. You read pseudo information. Remember you read that paper that said God is not dealing with the Bantus or something like that?
Yeah, that was from Talmud or something.
And they say, oh, that's the Talmud. Like, okay, so the Talmud was composed when? I'm pretty sure.
Danoy just said, I'm Pan-African said, I'm putting cases on Avery.
Oh my God.
Man,
Put the link down there. Put the link down there.
Nah, they joking. Whoever it is, they joking around now. They're having fun. Now they poking fun. Now they want to be friends. They want crack.
You think
nice jokes now. They want to crack. Yeah, all of a sudden this one popped up. Whoever it is creating new joints every time.
And they got 70. That's the identity of the DNA of a troll, man. When they have several accounts.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is you, Dan. This is you.
Picture pages, time to get your picture pages, time to get your crayons and your pencils. Picture pages, open up your picture pages, time to watch Bill Cosby do a picture page with you.
Don't be a picture page. I'm gonna start finding out. Listen, I'm gonna start gifting y'all pop-up books, man. That's the reading level y'all on. I'm gonna start gifting pop-up books to everybody. Like, look here, man. This is the book you need right here. The hell out of here, man. Anyway,
what we got to do is only read the graphs from these genetic papers. Only look at the graphs. Don't look at the words.
Don't even. Yeah, the words ain't there for no. Look, the words are just distractions. Who needs words? Oh my God, bro. This is.
Bro, even the graphs prove our points, though.
Let me.
What is this little girl doing up?
Anyway, an introduction to the molecular anthropology, page 183. The reason why I want to bring this out real quick for y'all, leave y'all with this tidbit information, is to present the information on high density populations, because what people say is, oh, well, West Africans, there's a lot of people there and it's high population density, therefore that's their point of origin. That's not true, bro. So let me read this. It says, how should one interpret an estimate of the age of mtDNA or NRY haplogroup? What does this actually tell us about population history? Unfortunately, all too often, the age of a haplogroup is misinterpreted as corresponding to the age of a migration or population divergence. In fact, the presence of a haplogroup of a particular age in a population provides only an upper bound as to when the haplogroup entered that population. A haplogroup can arise 50,000 years ago, need not have been present in the population 50,000 years ago. For example, so we belong to a V38 old haplogroup. Is dated estimated old haplogroup to 40,000 years, right? And people think that, oh, U1B1A is associated with West Africa, and that's the age of the haplogroup. Therefore, they was in West Africa for 50,000 years. That's, those two don't go together. They don't correlate, right? So the haplogroup that arose 50,000 years ago need not have been present in the population for 50,000 years. Could have been contributed to that population by a migration that occurred yesterday. And that's what's
that early. That early?
Yeah, that could happen. You can have, like these people don't read. Take out the time, purchase the material, and study this.
Wait, reread that. Hold on. What happened?
That early?
It could happen.
You can't be. You can't be right.
You can't be right. Because nobody migrates, no one travels, everyone stays in the same place and ain't from ancient to present. If that's the case, there would be nobody in Australia, nobody in Japan. America would never be inhabited. All of Russia would never be inhabited. Like, if nobody traveled, we'll all be stuck in Africa. We'll just be there. We'll be nowhere else. Right? Anyway, it says here.
Bro, ain't you heard, Darvis? America is Africa. What you saying? We are in Africa. We're not even speaking English right now.
Who blocked Darvis, man? I'm gonna get on y'all ass. Who blocked?
I
don't talk.
I ain't had nothing to do with it, bro.
Unblock Darvis, man. I ain't seen him in the while.
Don't talk to Geechee spiritual ghosts up in this joint, yo. Don't call them Geechee ghosts. I don't want to hear from that dude tonight.
Hey, you gonna stop hating on my Geechee fan, right?
Listen, I'm Geechee too. I already told him. He don't believe me, but it's all good. I told him my pop's right in his backyard.
Right. So it says here, it could have been a contributor to that population by a migration that occurred yesterday. If this is not clear to you, consider the following analogy, which comes from a talk I heard several years ago by the population geneticist Guido. Suppose a large population of humans migrate to Mars and sometime thereafter are discovered by a Martian biologist. The Martian biologist, intrigued by this interesting new species, carries out an analysis of their mtDNA types, assuming that humans on Mars are a random sample of those on Earth. Then Martian biologists will find most of the various haplogroups that one finds in humans today, with ages ranging from a few thousand to a few 10,000 years. But clearly that does not mean that humans got to Mars 10,000 years ago. And yet, it is not difficult to find papers in the literature that report mtDNA or NRY haplogroups that are of various ages and equate each age class with a different migration of event. And that's the same thing they do with the bond. We talked about that. They'll say, oh, genetics back up our claim when the bond to expansion happens. They'll say 5,000 years ago. They're using their timetables from the MRCA of certain E1B1 clades. So they'll say, oh, this E1B1A clade popped up 5,000 years ago. And then they'll say, oh, the language popped up 5,000 years ago. This is the beginning of the expansion. But that doesn't mean that just because you date the haplogroup to that age does not necessarily mean that the migration started then or they entered that population then.
I'm waiting for the Teo video talking about the Yap claims that there's human life on Mars.
It's coming.
You ain't know Shumlaka was on Mars?
Oh shit.
Talking about we don't know how to read the paper right.
No, more the white man lied to you. We actually are on Mars.
Right.
Bruh, and Mars is Africa. I'm trying to tell you, we ain't left yet, bruh. There's no point in, like, you know what I'm saying, having astronauts to building, you know what I'm saying, spaceships, because we're already there, fam. We don't got to migrate nowhere, bro. We're already there. And you ain't never there.
Listen, bro, it's the great Exodus. Part 2.
People gotta stop being.
He said part 2.
People gotta stop being fucking lazy. Right? It takes minimal effort to read this stuff, really, and y'all can't even do that.
They need to stop reading with emotions. They got their whole race wound up in this. You know, they got to save the race. They got to save, you know.
Yeah, so y'all want to be like the special Negroes and whatnot, to where like you know what I'm saying, like the American Negro is like the most special Negro ever. Like so just look at who they took from West Africa, fam. Like even like the people that took to certain parts of Brazil and whatnot, fam. Like we were known to be extremely literate people. Like what like there's people talking about like certain West Africans were more literate than their slave masters, just in different languages and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So like we come from a people to where like literally like, if I wanted to start a business in West Africa at the time of slavery, like let's say 1500s, 1800s, whatnot, like, bro, I wanted to sell books. Like books was like more important than anything to our people, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like we come from a people to where like literacy is the thing, fam.
Mm-hmm.
But now we acting like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you want them smarty art niggas? You want them Hollywood niggas?
Yeah, you a smart nigga, huh? You want them. You want them
like,
smart.
Like,
now it's a bad thing, and back then we craved learning.
You one of them smart niggers, huh? We gonna have to deal with you, boy.
That's that white supremacy shit coming
yeah,
out.
exactly, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all tapping into that Yemni energy, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You must have some white in you.
Hey, remember Chris Rock, he did that stand up and said, you know, if the stop signs were around when slaves were there, and they would stop, and the slave master be like, "How you know to stop, nigga?" He said, "Because that octagon shaped thing over there, nigga. Who taught you shapes? Nigga, who taught you shapes?" He didn't want to read.
Know exactly.
Because if he read,
If
he read the sign, he'd know he'd get his ass whooped because he could read. So he was like, "Oh, you mean that octagonal thing over there? Nigga, who taught you shapes?" That's you niggas, man. That's y'all today, man. You niggas are white supremacists, bro. Rednecks, man.
You one of them smart niggas, huh? We know how to deal with you. Yeah. It's all good.
Al Cracker. Anyway, so let me finish reading this. It says some even equate each individual haplogroup with a different migration/event, even though it is highly unlikely that a migration would consist of people with only a single haplogroup. We know a great example of that, right? The mixed multitude. It says, those of you who know something about phylogeography, which basically consists of using phylogenetic relationships and ages of haplogroups and their geographic distribution to make inferences about population history, may think that I am denigrating phylogeographic analysis. Nothing could be further from the truth. Phylogeographic analysis provides an extremely informative description of patterns in mtDNA NRY variation. are an important way to infer the geographical origin of haplogroups and can suggest likely hypotheses as to how the observed patterns arose. However, one of the main themes of this chapter is that it is important to distinguish between the observed patterns of variation and the underlying historical process that produce and observe patterns. Phylogeography directly informs you about the former, but not the latter. To learn about population history requires other approaches that will be described later in this chapter. So there's one more thing I want to read here about the geographic origin of mutations, because there's another argument to keep our ancestors in West Africa. Let me read this. It says, this suggests that the frequency of mutations might be one way to infer where it arose. So basically, if you see a lot of J1P58 somewhere, or you see a lot of E1B1A somewhere, or you see a lot of whatever, insert haplogroup here, that means that's where they arose, because it's a large population. And that's what they do at West Africa, because of the bond to expansion, majority of sub-Saharan Africa is E1B1A now. So therefore, that means that, that's where they arose. All right? It says, all other things being equal, the frequency of an allele is correlated with its age. The higher the frequency, the older the mutation. So we might think that where we see the highest frequency of a mutation haplogroup is where it arose. The problem with this line of thinking is that all other things are seldom equal. There are many factors besides age that can influence the frequency of a mutation / haplogroup. For example, a severe decrease in population size due to bottleneck or founder event can result in large change in allele frequencies. I'll leave it there. So just because you see a high frequency of a certain haplogroup in an area does not automatically mean that that's where they arose. Let me just keep reading the example here. It says, as we shall see in chapter 16, Polynesians have a very high frequency, 95 to 100% of particular mtDNA haplogroup that's also found at lower frequencies in near Oceania. However, and Eastern Indonesia. However, if you therefore infer that this mtDNA haplogroup arose in Polynesia and spread via migration westward from Polynesia, you will be very mistaken. Instead, as we shall see later, other evidence strongly indicates that this mtDNA haplogroup arose in either Eastern Indonesia. Wait, hold on. Where's the other part of this? Indonesia. Whoa. I done lost my place. Hold on. What page is this? 183. Where's 184, damn it? All right, so I guess I'm not going to read this because where's the other part of my page? Oh, there we go. I was about to get upset. Or near Oceania and spread from the eastward to Polynesia. The higher frequency of this haplogroup in Polynesia is explained by strong founder events and bottlenecks associated with the colonization of Polynesia. A more informative measure is of the origin of a mutation haplogroup is the amount of genetic diversity associated with that mutation haplogroup in different populations. The idea, again, is that a new mutation or particular nucleotide position arises by definition on the single haplotype. So initially, there is no genetic diversity associated with that mutation. Over time, more new mutations occur at other nucleotide positions on the background of that haplotype. So we might expect that where we see the most genetic diversity associated mutation haplogroup of interest, that is likely the origin of that mutation / haplogroup. In general, the principle works well, certainly better than simply read the rest of this. Simply assuming that the location with the highest frequency is likely to be the origin. So again, this is why you can't do that. And the diversity there could have came after we migrated there or before or whatever. But just because we see a bunch of E1B1A clusters somewhere does not mean that's where they originate. Another example of R1B pretty much dominates the male gene pool in Europe, but they don't originate in Europe. They came from the Yamnaya expansion, right? It happened roughly 3,000 years ago. And pretty much population replacement set in, and they replaced the autochthonous people of Europe at that time, which would be G2A and I markers. One more quote real quick, and instead of just flipping through my book, I just go to the Genesis 49 resource page and just read directly from it to pretty much buttress what I just said. So if you go to Facebook, go to our group. I cited a book earlier that says the same thing. Why you can't just rely on modern population density and infer that and retrodict that in the past and say, okay, you guys have always been there. All right. Community home. Boom. All right, let me share my screen. And then I'll let everybody else chime in, and then I'll conclude the show. All right, so right here, I made this post here earlier. Oh, not this one. It's another one. Where is it? Oh, right here. So I basically said large-scale sex bias gene flow obscures ancient genetic signatures, pure Dr. Naruya. This is evident with the E1B1A carriers of sub-Saharan Africa. So in his book, it says, right here, this phenomenon of large-scale sex bias post-agriculture migration and displacement, coupled with rapid population growth, obscures ancient genetic signatures and results in quick introduction of high genetic variability, often mimicking extreme natural selection. So if you have a population that comes in, dominates, and replaces the original population, that will obscure those old genetic signals and who are the actual people there before. And I will argue that's what we're seeing in West Africa because so many people got displaced and replaced, and population growth through agriculture, through the Bantu expansion, we pretty much dominated and numerated majority of sub-Saharan Africa, overrepresenting the population there today and masking the original population. That's why you need ancient DNA samples. That's why the study of the Shumlaka individuals are very important, because it's showing you what the populace looked like prior to the advent of the agriculture, the agrarian Bantu expansion. With that, I'm gonna yield, and if any brothers got any last comments before we get out of here, go ahead. Avery?
No, I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm good. Got to get up in a couple hours to do some overtime.
One more time. One more time for the detractors in the comments today and the trolls, man. This was y'all today. I had a blast. You guys were funny, man.
Check it out. Dang. Look, remember? Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Eddie.
Avery, man, you got a heart, don't you? You got a heart.
Nah, bro. I ain't showing no mercy tonight.
All right, y'all, we out. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fornax, fuck it up.
Be realistic, I don't really see no competition. Who she thinks she talking to? Like, obviously, I'm a nigga. Close that door, niggas snakes, I ain't going for it. Move right, outsmart them, stink team, most wanted. Be realistic, niggas bums, they ain't trying to ball. Ran it back and won, nigga, anytime we took a loss. Rock hard in my double cup, I keep spilling sauce. I don't know nothing, bodies drop, he was not involved. Versatile, I could be a model or chalk the block. Or pop a lock with a dough, X marks the spot. Cut it out, if she ain't beneficial, I'ma cut her off. Bitch, give up, drop right now, made her cough it up. Old demons, everywhere I go, we dropping icicles. Is we kidding? Broke niggas rapping science fiction. Every day a movie, it ain't hard to be the most consistent. A flu flammer, I be in and out with orange chicken. You know who really for the win? Be realistic. He just wanna be my friend, be realistic. They don't really get no Uchis, be realistic. They can't do it how we do it, be realistic, man. Shit, bitch. You know who really for the win? Be realistic. Shit. Yeah. They can't do it how we do it, be realistic.
You know, run the city, let's be realistic. Where the wonton soup, I'm finna tear up the kitchen. Cause you the feds or the cops, mind your business. Draco was the dime, bitch, tell all your children. Walking back then stupid, I might men in black is memories. Tear it off quick, bitch, now. Literally. If now you gotta go to sad facts, you can't sit with me. I know I got this big Buddha piece, I need 10 of these. Things got the sauce, ingredients, and the recipe. I never stop rapping till my neck look like Mr. Then again, after that, I'ma still keep shit talking. He said he was a thug, it sound good, we met a bitch out him. Best advice is be my friend, be realistic. I ain't even say a word, I walk in and feel the tension. All these niggas home dick, sometimes life calls for whipping. I'ma join in my city, I ain't tucking in the trenches.
You know who really for the win, be realistic. He just wanna be my friend, be realistic. They don't really get no Uchis, be realistic. They can't do it how we do it, be realistic, man. Shit, bitch. You know who really for the win, be realistic, man. Yeah. They can't do it how we do it, be realistic.